welcome back to a cold and rainy and kind of snowy Heinz Field for Game 2 of the WPIAL High School Championship. It is Mars and Seton La-Salle, two teams who haven't been here since the 1990s. Both have stingy defenses. I am Trina Kisnarek. I'll be your sideline reporter for today. But for now, for a game preview, we will send it upstairs to Rob King and Kevin Gorman. Hey, guys.
All right, thanks very much, Trina. Appreciate it. And Kevin, really looking forward to this game. Maybe not as much as the people from Mars. They are going crazy up in Mars. They've gone bonkers for this team that is reaching the WPIAL Championship and looking for the first WPIAL Championship in school history. They were here in '96, lost in the finals. For Seton La-Salle, they're looking for their fourth championship. They won in '79 and '80 in AA. They won again in 1990 in AAA. And when you look at these two teams, you're seeing completely different styles. For Mars, it is running the ball with the wing T. For Seton La-Salle, it is passing it with Anthony Doria.
And you have, like you said, two completely different styles and two totally different concepts to take into the WPIAL Championship game. WPIAL champions have usually been effective with the run. Seton La-Salle is trying to do it with the pass. A couple years ago, they had Bruce Garakowski. He threw for nearly 3,000 yards, but they didn't make it past the first round. Anthony Doria has taken him into the finals, and they're looking for another championship.
Heard a lot about Brad Mueller. Anybody that follows high school football at all knows him. But Chris Gallagher, another senior, has really poured it on in the postseason.
Well, they have a nice 1-2 punch, and Gallagher's been overlooked. But here you see him take it against the Beaver Bobcats breaks open for a touchdown run on the first play of the game. He's a terrific guy, 4.344 speed. He's also a very fast kid for Mars. And then you have Brad Mueller, the 2,000-yard rusher. He's had 11 100-yard games. He had 1,000 yards in a 3-game span this season. Terrific athlete and phenomenal speed.
As you mentioned, Seton La-Salle likes to throw it. More of a quick strike sort of passing attack, quick hooks, and they'll try to go to get some slants. But they've got the right guy at the controls, Anthony Doria, one of the best quarterbacks in WPIAL.
He's a really tough kid. You're looking at a guy, like you said, he doesn't throw the ball downfield as much as he throws out quick slants, gets the ball to his receivers, and lets them do some things with it. But he's a kid who can hang in the pocket. As you see here, hangs tough, rolls out, makes plays. That's the biggest thing about him. He's a playmaker, gets the ball into the end zone. He's a really tough quarterback, and he's been the leader for the Rebels this season, a guy who really gets them going.
It's going to be so much fun to watch this game. Mars trying to do it on the ground, Seton La-Salle trying to do it through the air. Two completely different styles. Wonder how the rain's going to affect Anthony Doria's passing attack and also the great team speed of Mars, which we'll talk about a little bit later on coming up. We are getting set for the AA Championship. The second seed, Seton La-Salle, against the 8th seed Mars. When we return from Heinz Field right after this.
The buzz has been so great on the all-new 2003 Accord that we've had to keep it under wraps. Oops. See more at Beryl Honda in Wexford, Pittsburgh's largest Honda dealer.
Do you take pride in what you do? Do others recognize you as a leader? Are you passionate about education and mentoring young people? If so, the Academy has an opportunity for you. A nationally recognized innovator in working with today's youth, the Academy is currently seeking individuals to teach, counsel, and coach the next generation. For more information, call the Academy at 412-885-5200. The Academy, where hard work and dedication still matter.
There's something genuinely healthy about competition. It eliminates complacency, pushes people to new heights, encourages ingenuity, inspires new ideas. Our idea is to put healthcare decisions in the hands of the people who know healthcare best. The doctors. With UPMC Health Plan, the people who decide what care is covered are the same people who determine what care is needed. Find out more about UPMC Health Plan. It's a better way of providing health care. The other way was overdue for some competition. UPMC Health Plan. Choose your health care as if your life depended on it.
Save over $14,000 versus new on Beryl pre-owned Cadillacs. 2002 Sedan DeVille's $27,490 with 3.9% financing and a 6-year, 100,000-mile warranty. Backed by Beryl Cadillac, Route 19 in Wexford.
The WPIAL Football Championships on Fox Sports Net are brought to you by the Pittsburgh Tribune-Review. Get a better read on sports. By McDonald's, we love to see you smile. And by UPMC Health System, choose your health care as if your life depended on it. About 45 seconds or so away from getting things started here in the AA Championship between 8th-seeded Mars, 2nd-seeded Seton La-Salle. As you would expect, good crowds on both sides of the stadium here at Heinz Field. The folks at Mars have filled up almost the entire lower section. Talking to Scott Heinauer, the coach, earlier in the week, Kevin, and he said they are just going crazy. Spaghetti dinners, all the kids on the teams are visiting all the elementary schools throughout the week. They've had all kinds of festivities, bonfires, pep rallies, called school half day today, so everybody can come out here and check out the game. Mars had the third worst record in the decade of the 1980s in the WPIAL. Scott Heinauer has really turned them around and made this a program that the Mars community has really embraced.
And like you said, they've embraced them not only in the stands, but like you said, in the grade schools. They went to visit all 4 elementary schools in the Mars district, and they found that the kids were swamping the players for autographs. They said, autograph my head, my shirt, my shoes. You know, Brad Mueller was the star. He's the Jerome Bettis for those little kids. And for them to get a chance to get out and see the star players in person and really, get to touch them and get some contact with them, that's a great thing for a community to really build on, because it makes those kids someday say, hey, I want to get down to Heinz Field and play there like my buddy Brad Mueller did.
Mars started the season 3-3. They caught fire. They won their last 3 games of the regular season, and then throughout the playoffs, defeating Riverside in the first round 41-17, then upsetting top-seeded Jeanette 10-7. Then they took care of the 4th seed Beaver 34-13 over their last 6 games, averaging nearly 30 points per game offensively, defensively over their last 5 games, giving up just 5.4 points per game, 2 shutouts during that stretch. So Mars is clearly playing their best football of the season right now. As far as Seton La-Salle, they rolled through the competition, 12-0 right now. In the playoffs, they beat Center in the first round 54-0. Then they overcame 6 turnovers against Freeport. They won that game 28-21. Then beat Aliquippa 14-6. So they've had a little bit of a tougher road once they've gotten into the playoffs to get to this championship game.
They certainly have, and especially, I think everybody expected the Center game to be a really good first-round game. I went to see that game thinking it would be one of the top games in the first round, and Seton LaSalle just destroyed them. Carmen Connolly actually had 100 yards rushing and 5 touchdowns, a sophomore, big game for him. But, the one thing the Rebels proved was that they could run the ball if necessary, and they've been able to pass almost at will this season. But now, when you get to the game like this, you need to be able to run the ball and control the clock, too, as Rochester proved in the Class A game. So it'll be interesting to see how effective their passing game is, and if it's not effective, whether they turn to the running game and maybe move Joe Del Sardo back to tailback or go to a split-back formation and run the ball. I think they can do it. And
this is, you mentioned the weather conditions, very interesting. 32 degrees, about as cold as you can get and still have it raining, and it is raining. Humidity 72%. I guess that means rain. It is raining, a little bit drizzling. The field a little bit wet. It's holding up pretty well so far. The wind at the northwest gusts up to 20 miles per hour, and the forecast calls for rain mixed with snow. Now, this brings up an interesting question. You've got a Mars team coming onto a wet field. Not one player runs over a 5-0-40. They're not a very big team. Everybody on this Mars team can run. Now, what does the wet field do for a team that's got speed on the one hand? On the other hand, what is the wet field, wet conditions, some wind going to do to Seton LaSalle's passing attack? I guess probably whichever team can handle the elements better is going to have a leg up.
I think one thing you have to deal with is that, I've heard Heinz Field referred to as the big sandbox. They're going to have to see if they can keep their footing, make sure they don't have any turnovers. I think that's going to be a big key in this game. Whoever has the fumbles, the interceptions, Brad Mueller's shown that he can return interception the distance. He's gone 100 yards and 72 yards on 2 interceptions this season. So they have to make sure they're careful with the ball as much as whether they can run with it or pass with it. I think Seton's going to have high percentage passes. They're not going to be throwing the ball downfield looking for the big score. They're going to try to get the ball out, a little swing pass, pass in the flat, try to get it to Del Sardo, Buffington, Caputo, Metzdukis, whoever they can get it to, and let them do something with the ball in the open field.
2 common opponents this year. You mentioned Center. The Planets won that 10-5 in the last 2 minutes of the game, and they used the Zach Roswalk, the quarterback, who doesn't throw the ball all that much, with a big touchdown pass with 1:38 remaining in that game to beat Center. And you mentioned Seton LaSalle just destroyed them 54-0. Both teams also played Freeport. Freeport beat Mars 20-6. Seton LaSalle, as we mentioned, beat them in the playoffs, overcoming those 6 turnovers. But we should mention that Freeport was without star Dennis Gerhardt in that game, so that's obviously, I mean, he was their top player. So I don't know what you can read out of those matchups. Mars got Center earlier in the season. They are clearly a much, much better team now. So, we just throw it out there to compare, but I'm not sure there's really a whole lot to that.
Yeah, I think the Seton 54-0 win over Center is kind of an aberration, too, because I think what you saw was a Seton team that had a vendetta against some of those Midwestern Conference teams that lost in the last couple of years in the playoffs. They wanted to come out and set a precedent, set a tone for the playoffs, and come out strong. And they really, once Center got down, they just kind of gave up, not to knock the Trojans, but they got too far behind to really make a run at it. And another thing is that you see Mars is a completely different team since the Burrow game. Ever since then, they had a team meeting and they said, let's air it out. Let's air out all of our differences. And the coaches told the players it was wrong. The players told the coaches it was wrong. And since then, the Planets have not lost a game. And that, like you said, it's been a complete transformation. They're a totally different team. I think you're going to see two teams here that are pretty evenly matched, even though they are opposite type of offenses.
Yeah, you mentioned that Burrow game the week following that, a very big game against Apollo Ridge. Won that game, essentially clinched the playoff berth against Apollo Ridge, who they tied for in conference play, each team finishing third in the conference, a tie there. Also, let's talk a little bit about the defenses while we have a chance as well, because yes, Seton LaSalle averaging 31 points a game, Mars over their 6-game winning streak averaging nearly 30 points per game. But Seton LaSalle's defense has been excellent. Mars' defense the last 5 games has been excellent. Seton LaSalle giving up less than a touchdown a game. Mars over this winning streak, over the last 5 games, I should say, under 6 points per game. And they're led by each team, similar style defenses led by their linebackers.
Yeah, and what you see with Seton LaSalle, 5 shutouts, 4 games where they allowed a touchdown or less. Like you said, they get there with their linebackers, but they also have a terrific defensive line this year, which is something that they kind of had some patchwork lines before, but now they have a tough line. You have a guy, Rob Kraske, there. Steve Morse is a kid who's a junior, who's really plugging the holes at defensive tackle. And if you go to Mars, they like to fly to the ball. And like you mentioned, they have nobody runs over a 5.0 40. That's amazing. You have a linebacker there, Dan DeMarco, who plays offensive line and runs a 4.7 40. That's as good as a lot of quarterbacks run. A lot of running backs run in some programs. So they have, they're going to fly to the ball. They're going to beat you with their speed. And one of the things they can do is they can take a chance because of their team speed to take a guy like Brad Mueller, who's the fastest player on the field today, and they're going to be able to put him back in kind of a safety position at times and let him play and just kind of roam the field and make sure nobody gets behind the defense. So you're not going to see too many big plays, 70-yard bombs thrown on this defense. They're going to keep it short, and you're going to have to take your gains as you get them.
We see the two teams out there for the coin toss right now, the Fighting Planets in the navy blue and gold uniforms, and Seton LaSalle in the white. And we're going to see Seton LaSalle wins the toss. They will receive, and they will move left to right to begin this game. We are just moments away as we take a look at that is Coach Lucero in his 10th year. He played on the 79 and 80 WPIAL championship teams, coached by Tom Donahoe. Played with Jim Sweeney, Greg Gattuso, 7 Division I players. Lucero told me, on that team. He was also the offensive coordinator under Gattuso on the 1990 championship team that won the AAA title. So he's been involved in all 3 championships from Seton LaSalle.
And he's a former Division I player himself. He played at East Tennessee State. He's a guy that kind of embodies what Seton LaSalle is all about. He's a former Rebels player, comes back as an assistant coach, works his way up the ladder, takes over for Gattuso, and he's been an innovator at Seton LaSalle. Seton LaSalle was a traditional power eye running team, and they always had a 1,000-yard rusher. They get a couple quarterbacks in here. I think they have 5 1,000-yard passers the past 7 seasons, but it really opened up when they had Bruce Bartkowski a couple years ago. They went to a spread formation. He passed for nearly 3,000 yards, had 30 touchdowns, and Anthony Doria has kind of been able to take advantage of that. success that Gradkowski had. He has an accurate arm, and you're going to see him get a chance to open the game up himself.
All right, Scott Rape is set to kick off, and the AA championships are underway. Short kick taken on the 22-yard line. Picking his way forward is Chris Buffington. The ball on the ground. He fumbles, but it looks like Seton La-Salle will recover and maintain possession. A scary moment there as Buffington took the short kick, sort of picking his way through traffic, and coughed it up, but the Rebels able to recover. Take another look at it here, and just jarred loose by Phil Batalbo, one of those linebackers we talked about. I beg your pardon, as Buffington makes the recovery. That was Zach Raybalden on the hit for Mars. Doria has 3 receivers split. Now nobody in the backfield.
Yeah, he's going to go 5 wide. Lucero told me he was going to do this on the first play. Get the ball to Del Sardo. See what he can do.
All right, Del Sardo, now he loses it, and it is recovered by Mars. 2 plays, 2 fumbles. Mars recovers this one. Dan Dalator comes up with a loose football, and the Planets are in business. Take another look at it, the spread, and they try to get it out to Del Sardo. Played running back earlier in the season, had a high ankle sprain. When he came back from that injury, was moved over to wide receiver. Did have a 100-yard rushing game earlier this season. Coughs it up there, and Dalator on the recovery.
And you see number 68, Derek Chaufray, make the strip there on the tackle.
Wing T, Mueller, directly behind Broswell. Mueller gets it up the middle, looking for the yardage, and he loses the ball, and the Rebels get it back. We've had 3 plays, 3 fumbles. Del Sardo, who coughed it up the first time, gets it back this time for Seton La-Salle. Wow, 3 plays, 3 fumbles.
Well, when I said turnovers would be the big difference in the game, I didn't expect it to be such a big difference this early in the game.
They have to feel good for Del Sardo, I guess, after losing that 1 fumble to come right back and recover this one. Andrew Baker was the one who stripped Mueller from behind. Conventional I formation look here, 2 receivers split. Hand off to Doria to Connolly. Connolly wrapped up from behind. And now a host of Planets come in and will get him after maybe a half-yard gain. Tim King led the charge defensively there for the Planets. To bring up a 2nd and 9 situation from the 28-yard line. Wow, what a start. I formation again. Dory under center. Droney the up back. Connolly the deep back. Quick set on the slant, the toss, and incomplete. Pass here on the near side was intended for Mike Caputo and is incomplete. Dan Dalator once again there defensively. This is pretty typical of what Seton La-Salle will try to do, isn't it?
Yes, that's what they do when they get short passes and set them up so that they can get the yardage after the catch. You got to wonder if the ball is slippery right there. I mean, in that play, it looked like it was tight coverage, and he was trying to squeeze it in there. But I'm wondering if they're having a hard time holding on to this ball today.
Now it's going to be the big question. Offset I right. Doria will roll to the right now. Looking, throws underneath, but short hopped it. Intended for Caputo, so it's 3 and out for Seton La-Salle. And Caputo had broken open. If he caught it, he would have been a little short of the sticks, but might have had some room to run. So now 4th and 9. And Doria, who is the punter, will drop back to kick. Mueller and Gallagher deep for the Planets.
Anthony Doria back to punt.
Well, no scoring, but plenty of action so far in the first a little over a minute here at Heinz Field. Little collision back there. Doria looking for some sort of flag, none thrown on the play. And Mars will get it in good field position at their own 44-yard line. And Doria getting some pressure there on that kick.
That's the one risk you take with having your quarterback being the punter, is that there's always a chance for a block or an injury while he's back there. Doria doesn't play defense, and so he has a chance to recover if it is a minor little bump there.
28-yard punt there now to give to Gallagher. Gallagher heads out to the right side, gets some blocks, and then gets pounded as he hurdled a tackler and picked up about 2 or 3 yards on the play. Brought down by Tyler Maxtudis. We haven't even had a chance to set Mars offensively. Dan Dallator is the tight end. Steve Zatola, the wide receiver. They run the wing T, so 3 running backs, Brad Mueller, Tim Sunday, and Chris Gallagher. Along the offensive line, it's Mike Brinjack, Dan DeMarco, Tim King, Derek Chaffray, and Rick Gable. Quarterback is Zach Roswag. Roswag now with Mueller directly behind him. Now Sunday Waggles comes in motion, hand off to Mueller inside, and he's brought down almost immediately. Picked up a yard, which is going to set up a 3rd and 6. Chris Sanders is there defensively to make the tackle. Here's your Seton LaSalle starting defense. Andrew Baker, Chris Sanders, Ron Hoke, Steve Morse, and Matt Harrison along the defensive line. Chris Droney and Phil Vitalbo are the linebackers. And the secondary, Mike Caputo, Joe Del Sardo, Carmen Connolly, and Tyler Maxtudis. Going to bring up a 3rd and 6 situation, not necessarily a passing situation for the Planets. Receiver split to the near side, wing T, once again, Sunday in motion. Roswag will pass, rolls to his left. Looking now, gets outside of the pocket. Harrison hit him first. I'm not sure if maybe he got a piece of the face mask, as we saw a flag thrown down there. And we're going to have to wait to sort this out. Take another look at it here, and Roswag sort of gets outside of his protection here, Kevin. Take a close look at it. Harrison fighting off the blocks. Yeah, it looks like he got his hand up there in the face mask. You can see the flag coming in.
Yeah, it looks like an inadvertent face mask, but one nonetheless.
The officials conferring now. To mark it off from the spot of the foul. So Mars will wind up losing a couple yards on the play, but will get another crack on 3rd down
face
here.
mask on the defense. Repeat 3rd down.
So it'll be 3rd and a long 9 for the Planets. Steve Zatola running in with the play. Zatola and Bean will be the guys shuttling back and forth, the wide receivers to run the plays in. Roswag brings his team out, set up in the wing T once again. Zatola split to the far side, tight end, Dallator on the bottom of your screen. Gallagher in motion. Now Roswag loses the hand, the ball on the ground once again. And it looked like Roswag was able to get it back. And that's going to bring up, after the loss of a yard, 4th and 10. Take another look at it here, Kevin.
Yeah, Roswell looks like he just loses on the exchange. Maybe when it might have even gone off his knee. You know, he's out there playing barehanded. Most of these kids have gloves on. And I'm just wondering whether, you know, the ball is starting to absorb some of that moisture.
Wiskoski back to punt, gets it away. Del Sardo back deep, retreats, back inside his own 20 at the 18. Looking for some room. None to be found. Nice coverage by the Planets downfield. A return of about 4 on the play as James Worry makes the tackle. We are scoreless in the AA championship between Seton LaSalle and Mars. Back with more right after this.
You got a buck, you're in luck. Grimace, bump with me.
Got a buck? You're in luck, because on McDonald's Dollar Menu, you can get a delicious beefy big and tasty or a McChicken sandwich for just $1. Or you can add on a snack-sized fruit and yogurt parfait, McValue fries, 2 pies, or more. All for just $1 each, every day at McDonald's.
You got a buck, you're in luck. We should take this act on the road. Maybe not.
Honey, breakfast is ready.
Okay, Puddin', just getting the paper. Good morning. Good morning. Hey. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi.
Good morning.
What's up?
Hey.
Good morning.
You know, you can get the trim delivered to your home every day for 13 weeks, just $9.99.
Welcome back to Heinz Field, AA championship between Seton LaSalle and Mars. Just a little over 3.5 minutes old. We've already seen 4 fumbles. 2 of them recovered by their own team, and 2 have gone over on turnovers. Anthony Doria brings his team out I formation, 2 receivers split. Strength to the right side. Connolly will run left. Looking for room, picking his way over the 25-yard line. Gang tackling again by Mars. And Kevin, we have seen a lot of blue and gold jerseys around the ball.
they really do swarm to the ball. As you see him, and Connolly, he's not he's kind of a rough, tough runner, but he's only 165 pounds, so he's not going to be in there breaking too many tackles when he's got 5 guys swarming around him. But I'm anxious to see whether they stick with this I formation and play it safe for a little while, or whether they spread it out and try to really pass the ball. It's kind of interesting. You wonder what the field conditions are like for them right now.
Head end to the right side, receiver split to either side of the field. I formation, give to Connolly. Connolly over the right side, finds some room this time. It'll get out over the 33 to the 30. Well, now they're going to spot it at the 33-yard line. Looks like it's enough for a first down. They're going to be close.
Looks like they're moving the chain.
Yeah, they are moving the chain, so it's a first down on the run on Connolly.
Here you see Connolly take it inside, follows the block, just leans forward and gets the first down. I mean, nothing fancy about it, but that seems to be his style, just straight ahead runner, gets the yards.
Connolly was a wide receiver at the beginning of the season when the injury happened to Del Sardo. He was moved to tailback and has been a nice change of pace for Seton La-Salle. Finds plenty of room over the right side. This time gets over 20 yards on that run. So Connolly banging over the right side. Rob Kraske, a nice job blocking to help open up the hole. And Chris Gallagher finally makes the tackle.
Here you see the right side, who's pulling, like you said, number 55, Rob Kraske really came pulling around. There's a guy who's out there playing with one arm, basically. Lucero told me that Kraske injured his left shoulder in the preseason and blew it out in the first game of the season. So he's out there playing one arm.
Quick snap and the give to Connolly again up the middle. Picked up a couple. Derek Chaffray in on the stop there. So our first couple of first downs of the game, as each team has been unable to get anything mounted offensively. Now Seton La-Salle doing it not through the air, but by running the ball. Talking to Coach Lucero, he says he doesn't care what the conditions are, they're going to throw it. But if you can run, hey, why not continue to give it to Connolly? It'll be a 2nd and 8 situation, 42-yard line. I formation once again. Power to the right side, receivers split to either side of the field. Doria calling the signals, quick drop, will throw, ball deflected. Oh, great grab.
Looks like that was Joey Del Sardo.
Yeah, Del Sardo makes the grab there and picks up about 3. Looked like it might have been deflected at the line of scrimmage.
Looks like maybe, no, well, 68, did he get his hands on that?
Tough to say, but Del Sardo, who is being recruited by a number of MAC schools, an excellent athlete, one of several players in the Seton La-Salle team, also on their excellent basketball team as well. Out to the right side, I formation, receiver split again. Doria will roll to the right. Looking, passes underneath, almost picked off by Mueller, who read it beautifully, broke to the ball, and nearly came up with the interception.
And you see how upset Brad Mueller was. He had all green before him. I don't know if he would have caught that standing up, but here you see Doria roll out to his right. He's looking downfield, and he gets hit as he's throwing the ball. And Mueller, he is a little bit off to the right. If he catches that one, he's thinking about going to the end zone.
Well, looking at that play, Vitalbo looked to be open, but there again we see the great team speed of Mars. By the time that ball got there, there were 3 blue jerseys around it. Doria back to punt now. Gets it away, looking to angle it out of bounds, and a nice kick inside the 20-yard line. So a very good kick there by Doria. Will give the ball to Mars inside their own 20-yard line. Hey, ACC Sunday Night Hoops returns to Fox Sports Net beginning on December 1st. The Temple Owls take on Wake Forest in a showdown between perennial powers. ACC Sunday Night Hoops tips off December 1st right here on Fox Sports Net. So Mars will take over, 5:27 remaining in the first quarter. Ball on their own 17-yard line. Coming out in the wing tee once again, receiver split to the top of the screen. Roswald will give to Mueller straight ahead, plowing forward. Pretty good surge there by the offensive line of the Fighting Planets. Ron Hoke makes the tackle, the junior nose guard, 6'1", 230. A lot more size up front defensively for Seton La-Salle.
Well, that's what you look at the Rebels. The big difference for them is that they've had a class of kids come through here, or a group of kids, maybe a couple classes, that just have some big kids on them. Kind of guys like Lucero and his staff like big guys like themselves. And they've really, toughened this team up, because when they had Gradkowski, it was kind of a patchwork line. Didn't have the size. They had some tough kids, but just didn't have the big bodies.
Sunday in motion. Fake, and Roswald looking to throw. And it's going to go deep, intended for Steve Zatola, and just out of his reach, diving up near midfield in an attempt to make the catch.
You saw Caputo and Connolly in coverage back there, but he threw the ball in between them, just a little bit overthrown. Here you can see him roll. Yeah, it was just a little bit beyond his reach.
So Roswald getting a couple of chances to throw early. And Coach Heinauer told me before the game, he said, hey, Roswald's not going to be a 1,000-yard thrower. I told him that. He said, well, unless we get to the state championship game, then he's got a chance. So then he said, hey, I wouldn't mind seeing him being a 1,000-yard thrower then. But clearly they want to get it done on the ground. Sunday in motion, power right, quick pitch out to Mueller. Mueller looking to get out to the corner, gets a block from Gallagher, has some room, now cuts back again, and Mueller finally tripped up well downfield on the big third down play. Carmen Connolly, his opposite number, the tailback also playing in the secondary, makes the tackle, but not after a 28-yard gain for Mueller.
This is what 4.3 speed does for you. You can turn that corner, and then he's gone. I mean, he has some downfield blocking. I think Tim Bean was down there looking out for him. But, if not for that shoestring tackle by Carmen Connolly, Brad Mueller is going to take off, and this is one for the races, and nobody's going to catch this guy. But, you see him make two guys miss just by his sheer speed.
All right, back to live action now. Roswald calling the plays out, giving it to Mueller up the middle, tries to bounce it outside. Using La-Salle ready. Matt Harrison in on the stop. Got some help from Joe Del Sardo as well. Pickup of, about half a yard or so.
And that's the thing, you saw that pitch, 2 plays ago, Roswald's pitch was a little bit wobbly and, almost didn't get to Mueller. That's the risk you have to take in this kind of weather when you deal with, you'd love to get the ball out and pitch it out to Brad Mueller and let him take off around the corner, but getting the ball out there and making sure you don't fumble, the last thing you want to do is give a turnover, especially when you're in your own territory.
Going to call it 2nd and 10 here. And the quick pitch again to Mueller the other side. Has some room once again. Had a blocker out there. Pretty good defensive play by Tyler Maxtudis to make the stop. Let's go down to the field now. Trenny Kuzniak standing by. Trenny?
Hey, Rob, well, I talked to some of the Mars coaches before the games, and I asked them what made this team special, and they said what makes them so good is that these kids are the best of friends on and off the field. They said it's completely contributed to their team unity. It's also helped them complete their team motto, which they say is unfinished business. They lost in round 2 last year, and they vowed to make it to the WPIAL championships this year, and they have.
All right, thank you, Trenny. 3rd and 2 after the 8-yard gain by Mueller. Crossbuck inside handoff to Gallagher, and he is wrapped up and brought down by Chris Sanders. Excellent play by Sanders. This wing tee can be very confusing. The key, they say, is to follow the play of the guards. If you watch it in the backfield and look around, all the motion can confuse you. Sanders not fooled at all, and now an interesting situation here with 4th and 3. They're going to bring on the punting unit. I thought for a moment they were going to go for it.
Well, that's the thing. I think everybody in this kind of a scheme, everybody's going to have an assignment. You have to stay on your assignment and not, go out there and freelance.
Lee Wiskoski gets the punt away. Del Sardo coming up this time, fields it at the 15, looking for some room, has some blockers, but once again, Mars doing a nice job as Del Sardo gets it out to the 25-yard line. Dan Dallatorre on the stop.
You've talked about Mars this is the fastest team in Mars history, Scott Heinauer has said, and the big reason why you see times like 4.23, 4.3, 4.5, 4.6. The plan is to work with the speed coach, Dale Boring, once a week for 1 hour a week, every week during the season and 3 times a week during the off season. So that's the secret to their success.
High formation, receivers split to each side, tight end right. Doria, draw play to Connolly. Connolly bangs forward, and Mars not fooled at all. Able to get a gang of tacklers in there, led by Tim King and others defensively.
When you look at the Seton La-Salle line, I think now when they have to go to the ground.
Yeah, Carmen Connolly is their guy, and then you can see Connolly banging forward here and then ripping off the nice run here as well.
That's what really, you see the 55 downfield. Rob Kraske just laid somebody out on that play, but they have a big size advantage up front.
Remaining in the I formation, tight end right. Doria back to pass. Underneath pass to Caputo. Caputo running with it. Hit right in stride and picks up about 18 yards out to the 40-yard line. I beg your pardon, about 14 yards out to the 40-yard line before he's taken down by Chris Gallagher. So there's a sort of a classic play here for Seton La-Salle, getting Caputo to scrape underneath.
And it's all about accuracy. The timing and the accuracy of that play was what made it. Caputo, a nice slant pattern. Doria hits him in stride on the numbers, and that's why this offense works so well.
Remaining in the eye once again. Tight end right once again. Receiver split to each side. Connolly is in the eye. Connolly has the ball, picking over the right side. It's about 4 out to the 45-yard line. Sean Roach in on the stop for the Fighting Planets.
It looks like Connolly's going to get some work today. I hope he came prepared to have a lot of carries, knowing what the weather was going to be like, because he already has 7 rushes for 44 yards at this point in the game, and we still have a minute and a half left in the first quarter.
Well, the questions still remain to be seen as to what this weather is going to do to the passing game and what it's going to do to Mars' speed. But when you have big guys up front that can slog it out in weather like that, that might be an advantage to Seton La-Salle, who goes bigger along their offensive and defensive fronts. Same formation once again. Doria throwing outside, right on the numbers for Joe Del Sardo, who draws it in. A beautifully thrown ball by Doria. There was pretty good coverage out there as well.
That was a beautiful over-the-shoulder pass to Del Sardo. Here you see him one-on-one coverage with Chris Gallagher. The guy has 4.3 speed, but Del Sardo gets outside on him, and Doria places it right where you want it, right on his hands.
Del Sardo bought himself a little extra room by lining up a little bit more inside there, gave Doria room to throw the ball over the top. Pretty good coverage out there by Gallagher. See Del Sardo split to the top of your screen. Once again, the same formation, power right out of the eye. Doria back to pass as Connolly with nobody around him. Connolly inside the 20, inside the 15, still on his feet, and finally wrestled to the ground inside the 14-yard line.
What's nice about Connolly is he has the combination. There's a guy who played receiver as a freshman in half of his sophomore season, but he also has that toughness of a runner. So you see him, swing out here, catch a nice grab with his, low pass, and then he fights for the extra yardage, just like a back, like you'd want your back to do. And he's only a sophomore. He's a kid, 165 pounds, but he's a tough, gritty kid.
And once again, we saw the underneath pass before. Now the underneath pass, the pattern draws everybody with it, and Connolly just wide open in the flat. High formation, power right again, 2 receiver split. Doria will fake, roll to his left, looking for Del Sardo in the end zone. He's open, and he can't hang on. Gallagher got there late, but the ball pretty well delivered there by Doria.
Yeah, I think Del Sardo was looking for the ball on his right side, and Gallagher came in and broke that one up. The ball was thrown inside, and I think, as you see here, Doria rolling to his left. He throws it. It's on the inside of Del Sardo. He was expecting the outside, and Gallagher gets a chance to break it up. But that's a catch that, you need Del Sardo to make. It would hit him on the numbers.
And one that he normally makes, an excellent receiver. Both he and Caputo in the top 10 in the WPIAL in receptions this year. Doria throwing for over 2,000 yards, and Del Sardo is going to make a lot more of those than he's going to let slip away.
Well, that's what Lucero says. Joey Del Sardo doesn't drop too many balls. You saw him drop one. That's a rarity. Let's see if he ever drops another one this game.
Droney in the slot right this time. Connolly the lone setback. Doria straight drop back underneath pass, and this is to Droney, who catches it and gets inside the 10-yard line.
That might have been Lucero's gift to Droney. He said, here's a kid. He's a tough kid. He knows he's in there to block and nothing else. So he gets a chance to catch the ball once. He doesn't get very many carries. As you see, he's not even one of their, their top 3 or 4 or 5 rushers. So it's nice for him to get a chance.
Well, the first quarter ends with Seton La-Salle on the march. The second quarter coming up from Heinz Field, coming up right after this.
Hey everyone, this is Rob Pratt and welcome to my world, the world of my good friend George Leon at West Penn Billiards and their brand new location, Route 19 South in Canonsburg, the #1 pool table dealer in the nation. West Penn Billiards, the only dealer for the top 5 brands of pool tables at all the top manufacturers on bars and stools and related game room equipment. Family owned and operated for 40 years. Stop by any of their 3 locations in the North Hills, Murraysville, and the new store, Route 19 South, Canonsburg. Get the best price and service. It's guaranteed. West Penn Billiards.
It takes a team to turn an empty office into a comfortable, functional workplace. It begins with designers who can maximize your floor space, experts who consistently deliver the lowest prices on fine furniture from Hahn and Allsteel, and experienced installers who have earned their reputation over nearly half a century. Expertise, experience, and excellence. Trust the business furniture team at Workplace Furnishings by Mount Lebanon Office Equipment.
This patient is getting a new treatment at one of the best clinical cancer centers in America, where tumors are tracked and destroyed without invading the body, and powerful new drugs can wipe out cancer cells wherever they find them. But today, her treatment will be different, because it's for her spirit. The Allegheny Cancer Center, part of the West Penn Allegheny Cancer Institute.
College football Saturday. The Cougars can smell the roses, but they want more. For the Huskies, an upset makes their season. College football Saturday, presented by Kyocera on Fox Sports Net. The best damn sports show, period. Hollywood's biggest stars. I like this show. Sports' greatest athletes. And the sexiest babes. Wow. Comedy, commentary, how dare you! And highlights. Weeknights at 8 and 11.
Welcome back to Heinz Field, the AA championships between Seton, La-Salle, and Mars. Scoreless at the start of the second quarter, but Seton, La-Salle knocking on the door. Third down, the 7-yard line, a drive that started on their own 26-yard line. High formation, power right, Doria under center. Doria will give to Connolly over the right side, has some room inside the 5. Going to be very, very close to a first down. Ken Carpenter on the stop for Mars. I think the thinking here was, hey, we're in 2-down territory, so let's go ahead and run it. And they're going to have to bring out the sticks to measure this one. As a gambling man, which I am not, I would say it's a hair short. John Duffy looking into his billfold here to see if he wants to gamble me on that one. Keep your money.
They're signaling that's maybe a foot short, like you said.
Okay, it's going to bring up 4th and inches. We'll take a look at the first quarter statistics. And Seton La-Salle dominating. You expect the passing yards. I guess maybe the rushing yards a little bit of a surprise. 46-41 in favor of Seton La-Salle, who also had the ball 6 minutes and 55 seconds longer. Let's not forget, too, they had the opening kickoff, too. So that's going to lead the stats in their favor as well. Trenny Kuzniak down on the field. Trenny, what's happening?
Well, Rob, I just talked to one of the assistant coaches of Seton La-Salle to find out if the weather has been has had any effect on the team. They said it hasn't. The reason they ran the ball so much in the first quarter is to get the pregame jitters out. Now they're going to hand it over to Anthony Doria.
Okay, Doria under center. Thank you, Trenny. And Doria, he's a big kid, and they love the quarterback sneak in short yardage situations, and Doria able to plow forward. Good line surge. Doria's about as big as any of their defensive linemen.
He's listed at 6'1", 205, and you can see that a lot of it is below the waist. You know, he's got a big butt and big legs, and and you see them pushing behind. Droney gave him a little boost there, so Doria is very good in the short yardage situations.
That is going to bring up a 1st and goal at just outside the 1-yard line.
He actually scored on a pair of 1-yard runs against South Parker, which was their closest game leading up to the playoffs. And, that's the difference right there is you have a guy, when you need a sneak, he can get the short yards for you.
And I wouldn't be surprised if he sneaks it again right here. Yeah, that's exactly what he's going to do. Over the left side and in. Doria plows it in. And Seton La-Salle is on the board first with 11:02 remaining in the second quarter. They take a 6-0 lead.
It looks like he followed the left guard and left tackle. Let's take a look here.
And he is smart this way. He saw the opening that way and went that way to cap off the 10-play, 74-yard drive that took up 3:45.
You see here, he followed right behind Pat Farrell, followed his lead, dipped his shoulder. Farrell took the brunt of it.
And the extra point is up, and it is good by Doria. So Doria gets 6, and then Doria tacks on the 1 with the extra point to give Seton La-Salle a 7-0 lead, 11:02 remaining in the second quarter. Clearly too early to think about any kind of change in game plan. If you're Mars, you're going to continue to run the ball. Seton La-Salle, as we saw there, and Trenny told us, trying to get the pregame jitters out by running the ball a little bit more than they normally might. But now we might see Doria start to put the ball up a little bit.
now they have the luxury of having a lead and not having to pass, so they can pass when they want to. Whereas Mars, the passing really isn't their strong point. If they get too far behind, they're going to have to pass, and that's when Seton can sit back and really, go into a zone defense and defend against the pass.
When you talk about keys to the game, one of them for Mars is not to fall way behind early. Now, 7 points is nothing to panic about. You don't want to get down 14. You don't want to get down 21. You have to start throwing the ball. That is not at all what Scott Einauer wants to do.
Speaking of 21, you just took a look at him right there, Brad Mueller. He's the kind of guy who's a game breaker and has a chance to really, tie this game up very quickly. Seton's had, when they've kicked off or when they've punted, they haven't gone toward Gallagher or Mueller. They've tried to kick it out of bounds or kick it short. It'll be interesting, this is their first kickoff here, to see how they handle it, because you're going to pick your poison with these two back there. One's a 4.26, the other's a 4.3, and the 40, these guys can fly.
Ryan Irvine, the left footer, away with a kick, and it's fielded by Ken Carpenter. Carpenter heads directly up the right sideline and smashed down inside the 35-yard line. Got it out to about the 34 or so. Andrew Baker on the stop for the Rebels. So Mars will take over. Once again, they've had pretty good field position, obviously, on the second play of the game after an opening fumble by Joe Del Sardo. They had excellent field position. Gave it right back up on the following play, then started from their own 44, now on their own 34-yard line. So they've been blessed with decent field position. Now, 3 receivers split to the left. Lone setback is Mueller. Roswag will give to Mueller up the middle. And Steve Morse was not buying it. He came crashing in and made the tackle. Phil Vitalbo in there as well. Vitalbo, I'll tell you, you look at Vitalbo, he is extremely active. He makes a lot of tackles. He was all over the field against Aliquippa.
And he's very active on the offense side of the ball, too, but he's like the kind of kid who likes to get in there and stick his nose in there and get dirty and make the big plays.
Now 2 receivers split from the top of the screen. Totola and Sunday. And a quick pass. Now they're going to blow the whistle. Illegal procedure, I think, going to be the call. Looked like Roswag was trying to set out a quick swing pass to Sunday out in the flat. But this is going to be 5 yards against Mars. I laid out for him. What, is microphone not working? We're going to get it here in a minute. I guess we'll get it here in a minute. Marching off 5 yards. There we go.
Procedure, offense, repeat second down.
I was going to bring up a 2nd and 14, and these are exactly the kind of situations that Mars wants to avoid.
Yeah, they can't afford to get to the point where they have, 2nd and 14, 3rd and 15 situations where they have to pass, because their forte is the run, and that's what they want to stick to.
Sunday in motion. The cross buck and the give to Sunday. Going to pick up a couple. It's going to set up a 3rd and long situation once again. Matt Harrison is there on the stop for the Rebels.
They try a little misdirection there. I'm surprised they haven't run the ball with Gallagher a little more often. The one thing they like to do is kind of run it with him, let him take a little bit of abuse, and then swing it out to Mueller and let him take off. Obviously Seton La-Salle is expecting that, but you've seen Mueller take it inside a few times. I would be surprised if they didn't go outside to him.
Wing T, tight end right, Sunday in motion. Roswag on the option, will pitch to Mueller. Mueller has some room to the outside. Looking to get all the way around the corner and can't. Tripped up there by Mike Caputo, making the good stop, well short of the first down. To bring up a 4th and 5, and Mars will be forced to punt as Lee Wiskowski comes on once again.
You see Mueller go to the wide side of the field. Gallagher leaves the block, and he's got a downfield block, but Caputo comes up and trips him up right, a couple yards short of the first down marker.
So Del Sardo back deep once again. Wiskowski with his 3rd punt of the game. Gets it away. Low kick. Del Sardo fielded his 32. Looking out to the right once again. And a collision once again. And pretty good coverage by Mars once again. But Seton La-Salle will have excellent field position to try to add to their 7-0 lead when we return from Heinz Field right after this.
I want to say my head hurt.
Kovalev, does he have enough left to shoot? The puck does.
Saturday, November 23rd, all fans receive an Ulf Samuelson bobblehead as the Pens face the Sharks. Call 412-642-PENS or go to Ticketmaster.com today.
Do you take pride in what you do? Do others recognize you as a leader? Are you passionate about education and mentoring young people? If so, the Academy has an opportunity for you. A nationally recognized innovator in working with today's youth, the Academy is currently seeking individuals to teach, counsel, and coach the next generation. For more information, call the Academy at 412-885-5200. The Academy, where hard work and dedication still matter.
Going to light the big Christmas tree down at the point tonight. This gentleman couldn't wait on his boat. Has the Christmas tree out there, right across the field right across the river from Heinz Field. Seton La-Salle takes over at their own 40-yard line, up 7-0. Doria, Connolly deep in the eye. Receivers split to either side. Tight end to the right. Calling out the signals now. Doria back to pass, looking, and I don't know whether that slipped out of his hands or whether somebody got a hand on it, but Doria's pass there a little bit short of his intended mark.
And here you see Doria, throw him some of his better passes, following up that last one. But, he's been able to pick apart and choose his spots there. Nice pass to Joe Del Sardo, dropping it over his shoulder, and then you're going to see him throw a nice pass to the fullback there, Droney, and then you're going to see the other dimension of him running the short yardage plays.
2nd and 10 situation. Doria under center. Connolly deep in the eye. Tight end right. They've stuck with this formation almost the entire game. Pass is caught by Del Sardo, and it's going to be enough for a first down over midfield and into Mars territory. Chris Gallagher on the stop.
That's one of the things Del Sardo does best when they put him in the slot, go across the middle, make the tough catch. He's 5'9", 195 pounds. The kid's a ball of muscle, but he's able to get in there. He's got great hands, make the tough catch. Chris Gallagher was all over him. Brad Mueller comes in, makes the hit. But, Del Sardo has that dimension where they can put him across the middle. And Lucero said he wouldn't be surprised if Joey played slot receiver in college, as well as defensive back.
Offset eye now to the right. Doria, quick drop, quick throw again to Del Sardo. Caught once again in front of Gallagher. Down to the 40-yard line, going to be a gain of about 6 or so.
Boy, Gallagher's not really giving up an inch. He may be catching the ball, but he's not getting any yards after the catch. That shows you how tight he's been able to get on that coverage. Del Sardo's a guy who's run the 40 in 4.45 seconds. He dropped his time by almost 0.2 seconds this summer. He was a 4.68 guy, and they told him, if you want to be a Division I player, you need to reduce your speed. And he worked with Guy Monacelvo and their strength and conditioning coach at Seton La-Salle, Damon Rossell, to reduce his speed this past summer.
Saw the passing yards, no real surprise there. Seton La-Salle likes to throw it, Mars doesn't. Now the fade pattern once again to Del Sardo. Good coverage by Gallagher. Mueller came over late, banged them both out of bounds. It's going to set up a 3rd and 4. Well, this is what we expected to see out of Seton La-Salle. Trenny Kuzniarek telling us from the sidelines earlier that Lucero wanted to get the jitters out of his team. That's why he decided to run early, but they like to throw it. They'll throw it in any weather. You can see the wind. It's been a little bit of a factor on some of the throws. It's wet down there. Lucero says, hey, we're going to throw it.
That's their game plan. Like they said, you can come out and run the ball in the first quarter, go to the I formation like they are right now, but the key to this team is their ability to throw the ball.
Dory now in the draw to Connolly. Connolly has to move over the 35-yard line and down to the 30. Another first down for Seton La-Salle. Dan Dalator on the stop, but not before Carmen Connolly was able to pick up 10 yards and a first down.
I think one of the best things you see Connolly do here is he has patience. He follows his blocks. A lot of guys want to break through the hole as fast as they can. Here's a guy who kind of picks his spots and says, okay, I'm going to follow this block to the right and this one to the left, and then run hard. He keeps his feet moving the whole time. And he's a tough kid. One hit's not going to take him down.
Single back set now. 3 receivers on the field. It's Tyler Maxtutis in the slot. Back to pass, underneath pass again, intended for Caputo, and we're going to get an interference call here on Ken Carpenter, who got there just a little bit too soon. Once again, that quick slant that they like to throw so much.
I was waiting for them with all the passes to Sardo to set up Caputo. Here you see Carpenter's draped over his shoulder, a little bit too close for comfort, and the Rebels get a big break here deep in Mars territory.
Defensive pass interference.
Yeah, no question.
Automatic first down.
No question he got there too soon. It's an automatic first down. They're going to march off 15 yards. And Seton La-Salle will have the ball 1st and 10 from the 15-yard line. And Mars needs to come up with some big defensive plays here because Seton La-Salle is beginning to click offensively.
Yeah, this is what, they've shown the two different sides of their offensive game. Now that they're showing the side that's the most potent.
I formation once again, tight end right. This is the formation they've used throughout the bulk of the game. Doria straight back to pass, looking over the middle, threw into double coverage. And Connolly swinging out of the backfield, wide open once again, elected to try to go for 6, but Caputo really well covered downfield by the defensive secondary of the Planets.
Yeah, Doria threw his arms up in the air. Looked like maybe he was thinking Caputo was going to do something different, but Connolly was wide open. He might have had a chance to get a touchdown had he looked off his first target and went to his second receiver.
We saw that play earlier from Connolly, and it looks like that play is going to be there. It was there earlier for a big gainer, and once again Connolly was streaking open, so that's something to remember for a little bit later on in the game. I formation, Droney the fullback, Connolly the tailback, receiver split out, Del Sardo to the near side, Caputo to the top of the screen. Doria back to pass, looking for Connolly once again, and this time he is drilled by Dan DeMarco. Well, they went back to that swing pass this time, and DeMarco was ready for it. Connolly's a tough kid, but he took a licking here.
Here you see DeMarco puts all 6'1", 220 into him, and he really drilled him pretty good.
And that is going to bring up a 3rd and 10.
And I think Connolly saw that one out of the corner of his eye. If you saw that from the reverse angle, he saw that and his arms tightened up a little bit. He knew he was about to take a big shot.
We'll give Scott Heinauer credit for noticing that Connolly had been open again and adjusting to that defensively between plays. 3 receivers. Max Studis is in the slot. Lone setback is Connolly. Doria pump fakes underneath. Some collisions out there, and it looked like that ball hit the ground. There was some bumping out there between Carpenter and Caputo. No flag this time, and it's going to bring up a 4th and 10.
Well, Seton LaSalle got their break a couple plays ago with the pass interference penalty. Doria missed his chance for the big play when he overlooked Connolly. Here you see Caputo. He did have a little bump and coverage on him. The ball was a little bit high, and it looked like Carpenter had his arm draped over his shoulder again. But they're not going to throw that flag twice. Most likely, they're not going to throw it twice in the deep in Mars territory on the same drive.
4th and 10. 2 receivers split out to the top of the screen. Very close together out there, Caputo and Del Sardo. Doria will roll right. Looking, fires, and that's going to come up short. That ball's a little slippery, tough to hang on to, and Doria's pass intended for Del Sardo comes up short, and it will go over on downs to the Fighting Planets. We talked about them needing a stop, and they came up with one.
And that's what they do best with their defense. Team speed. Take advantage of the big plays you have there. Got some pressure on Doria, made him roll out. His short pass comes up a little bit short. Del Sardo, even so, Del Sardo wasn't getting into the end zone in that play, but Mars kept him from even getting a first down.
Wing T Sunday to the near side of the formation where the tight end is as well. Split receiver up to the top of the screen. Hand off to Mueller off the left side. Scoots his way forward for about 4 yards on the play. 3 or 4 yards. Ron Hoke and Chris Sanders over there to help on the stop. Bring up a 2nd and 6 situation for the Fighting Planets. Getting down now to just under 6 minutes remaining here in the first half. Seton LaSalle leads 7-0 after a 10-play, 74-yard drive that resulted in a touchdown early here in the second quarter. Wing T formation once again. Mueller, the setback. Sunday in motion, quick give to him. And an excellent defensive play by Phil Vitalbo. Not fooled at all by that play. Sunday coming in motion and getting the quick handoff, but Vitalbo read it.
They try some misdirection, and you see Phil Vitalbo. He really read that play perfectly. You see them come around. Sunday, Vitalbo shoves off the one block and just grabs him, wraps him up, and pulls him down.
And this wing tee isn't quite as deceptive as the one that Guy Montecalvo runs down at Washington. We did that game last year, and it was a nightmare trying to figure out who had the ball. But still, a lot of pulling guards, a lot of motion, a lot of misdirection. Again, not quite as much as Washington, but it can be very, very difficult on the defenders. So far, Seton La-Salle doing a good job. Roswell calling out the signal, Sunday in motion. This time an inside handoff to Mueller. Nowhere to run, picks up a couple, brought down by Matt Harrison, and it's going to bring up a 4th down. So 3 and out once again for the Planets. They're going to have to punt here as Wiskoski comes out to boot it away.
Well, I think Wash High, like you mentioned, they had a really big offensive line, so they had a little more time back there to work, carry out the ball fakes. And they had a veteran quarterback in Gregola, and they had about 5 or 6 backs that they could go to. This offense, it's a little more predictable. You have an idea who's getting the ball. It's going to be 1 of 3 guys.
Wiskoski punts it away. This one off the side of the foot. Moving over is Caputo this time deep, and he's brought down immediately. Once again, excellent coverage by Mars defensively. And they're able to stop him after virtually no gain at all on the return. Tim King was in there on the stop.
Seton La-Salle hasn't really rushed the punter on any of these punts so far. And a couple of those snaps were little floaters back there.
Yep.
I was surprised that, maybe they would put a couple guys up on the line and go after him, especially deep in the, Mars territory. But you see them put Caputo back there. Maybe they're giving Joe Del Sardo a break to get him ready. He's playing defense, he's playing offense. Give him a breather for 1 second before he goes back out on offense.
And he is back out on offense. Split to the near side. Give to Connolly now over the right side. Has some room, and it closes quickly. Big collision after a 5-yard pickup. Tim Sunday and Tim Bean in there on the stop as well. Now, Bean, DeMarco, and Sunday are all first-team all-conference for the 2nd consecutive year. They have a little friendly something going on between them as to who has the most tackles. Bean right now is leading that very, very fine threesome. Connolly giving the ball on the counter to the right side, tripped up in the backfield. Nice play by Tim King, who gets the penetration and gets his hand on Connolly's ankle to bring him down.
Well, what's so interesting about high school sports, especially in Western Pennsylvania, is the family ties you see there. Tim Sunday, his brother Matt, played on that 96 team. He was a wide receiver and strong safety. And his cousins Brian and Adam played, they're twins. They played for Mars the past couple seasons. Now they're both at Allegheny College. And I'll tell you a little bit later, but Seton La-Salle has some really strong family ties over there, and some kids that have been on the team. Ciro's coached some of the brothers year after year after year. So, I think that's one of the things that really makes high school football in this area so much fun to cover.
Big situation here, 3rd and 5, 3 receivers. Doria back to pass, a blitz on. Bean working his way in. Doria gets rid of it, and just a little too high for Max Studis. Boy, pretty well thrown ball, but Max Studis couldn't quite get there. Good pressure brought by Tim Bean on the blitz from his linebacker position.
That's one thing Anthony Doria does so well, is just hang back there, hangs tough, is willing. It looks like, I think Max Studis might even slowed up on the route a little bit because he didn't know if Doria was going to be able to get it to him. But Doria's got a strong arm, and you see, Max Studis coming across here. Is he going to get the ball to me? Okay, here it comes. Oh, he doesn't get to it.
Now the punt is away by Doria. Gallagher fumbles it, but is able to land on top of it, and then a big pile up, but Gallagher was able to get it back at his own 16-yard line. Back down field side to Trenny Kuznerek. Trenny?
Well, hey, guys, we talked about the family atmosphere here in Western Pennsylvania football. Well, every Thursday, Dan DeMarco and Derek Chaffray of Mars host a spaghetti dinner. Last night, it was extra special. After the spaghetti dinner, the entire community had a pep rally and a bonfire to send these guys off to the game today.
Thanks very much, Trenny. The people in Mars are just, we mentioned it, Scott Heidenauer said they were in a frenzy. They have just been going crazy. A lot of great support from the community in Mars for this football team.
He told me the kids had a good time taking a sledgehammer out on one of the old automobiles in the community. I guess they had a good time smashing up a car. It must have been designed in green and gold.
Gallagher on the run to the right side there. Ron Hoke, I beg your pardon, is in on the stop. Gallagher once again coming in motion and getting that quick handoff. Picked up perhaps a yard. With 2:20 left to go here in the first half. They're taking their time. Seton now runs the play in. They better get up there quickly to the line of scrimmage. Roswag trying to hustle them up. Mueller the lone setback. He's going to get the pitch. Out to the left side, looking for room. Sprung out pretty well, and Mueller will be brought down at the 16-yard line. He's going to lose a couple on the play.
You see Mike Caputo in on another play there. He's a kid who likes to run his mouth, but he also likes to run his feet up and get there in the ball. You know, Lucero said he's the kind of guy who stirs up a lot of talk with, you know, he likes to jab out there, you know, get some banner going. But he said, you know what? The kid backs it up, so I can't say much about it. You know, he's the kind of guy who likes to get out there and stick his nose in it.
Had an 85-yard touchdown return on an interception against Freeport in that 7-point game. That was the real momentum swinger and helped Seton La-Salle get to this point. Now 3rd and 10. Gallagher in motion. Roswag fakes the handoff, rolling out, looking to throw. And it is picked off. And there's Caputo, the guy we were just talking about. Steps in front of Mueller, intercepts the pass, and Seton La-Salle back in business.
You see Roswell get some pressure here at the very end. Come in and blitzing. And then Caputo steps right in front of the ball. Great instincts on his part.
And takes it inside the 19-yard line. So Seton La-Salle, you can see Roswell upset with himself. Seton La-Salle right back in business. Well, Mars does not throw it well. They tried it from deep in their own territory. You know, you wonder in retrospect, and maybe that's a situation where you try to grind down the clock and kick it away. Now Doria, a chance to get Seton La-Salle up by a couple of scores before the end of the first half.
Now this could be a big turning point in the game.
Doria straight back, looking pass underneath to Max Studis. Max Studis picking his way inside the 10, now down close to the 5-yard line. And a first down for the Rebels. Ken Carpenter makes the tackle, but another big gainer for Seton La-Salle.
And you know, Lucero told me he knew he was getting a tough kid in Max Studis because his dad played semi-pro ball for the Beachview Bulls. And he said, so I knew when this kid came in, I knew what I was getting, I knew what kind of player he's going to be. And he comes up with a big play here, you know, fights through the middle, gets some tough yardage, gets them back in the center of the field, which is important if they have to settle for a field goal here at the end.
Lucero using a timeout, first timeout for Seton La-Salle. They have 2 remaining in 1:02. The ball just outside the 5-yard line. Well, Seton La-Salle has done a great job throwing the ball, which we expected. Carmen Connolly's had a very big first half running the ball, so we've seen excellent balance out of Seton La-Salle's offense.
And you see all these kids with great hands, and you say, how do they have so many kids with good hands and everything? Well, that's where you come in with the basketball team. Joe Del Sardo, Carmen Connolly, Mike Caputo, Anthony Doria, Tyler McStudis, Andrew Baker. I mean, half the team right here are all basketball players, and these are guys, you know, Joe Del Sardo, when he was a freshman, he played the WPIAL championship game against Al Equipa that had Josh Lay and Monroe Weekly and Quinier Gaskins, and they had a bunch of Division I football players, so he knows what it's like to be in a big game against some tough kids. And that's where these guys, they have that athletic ability, and they have that quickness from the basketball court.
That last first down, the 10th of the first half for Seton La-Salle, dominating in that category, 10 to just 1 for Mars. Option, pitch to Connolly, over the right side. Carpenter missed the tackle, but DeMarco and Gable there to swarm Connolly under at the 5-yard line. Carpenter doing a nice job getting the penetration to slow that option down, and DeMarco and Gable filling from the inside.
Well, you don't see Seton run the option too often, but when they do, Carmen Connolly had a little shake and bake there, but he got tripped up by the first guy and swarmed by the next 2.
Connolly handoff over the right side. Tim Bean crashing in from his linebacker position. Will drag him down inside the 5-yard line, and Seton LaSalle going to use another timeout with 30 seconds remaining, and they're going to be faced with a 3rd and goal from just inside the 5-yard line. Well, Mars has made one very key defensive stop here in this first half. Can they make another?
That'll be interesting to see. You know, it would also. I'm looking forward to seeing. They ran the ball 2 plays in a row. Are they going to come out here with a little play action? Maybe throw a little fade in the corner to one of the big guys. You know, you haven't seen the ball thrown to the tight ends yet. Are they going to throw it up for grabs? Are they going to throw a little swing pass out, maybe to a Del Sardo? Or, you know, Chris Buffington has not been involved in any pass plays yet. Maybe we'll see him. You know, it's going to be interesting to see. They have so many options to do, you know, what they can do with the ball passing-wise. Obviously, the running game, you know, maybe Droney will get his first, he'll get his first chance to run the ball.
Buffington, wide receiver, has 18 catches for 290 yards this year and 3 touchdowns. You mentioned the tight end Phil Vitalbo and his backup Andrew Baker. Vitalbo has 8 catches this season. Baker has 7. Each of those fellows has also caught a touchdown. So Doria now with Droney in an H-back position. Connolly, and Doria rolls, and he has got his man in the end zone. Touchdown, Seton LaSalle. It's Mike Caputo, the guy who picked off the pass to get the ball back in Seton LaSalle's hands, catches the touchdown pass, and it is 13-0 Rebels.
Well, you see, there's not too much play action there, but he does roll out to the right and finds Caputo standing right on the corner, right by the pylon. Caputo runs a little tight route, curls back inside, and he's wide open.
Tough play to cover there. Dorian for the extra point snap, down a little high. Nice job of holding, and the kick is good. And Seton LaSalle leads 14-0 with just 25 seconds remaining in the first half. A 4-play, 19-yard drive that took up just 47 seconds. Of course, the key play was the interception by Caputo to give him such excellent field position.
And right now you got to figure that Scott Hightower is probably a little angry with himself for throwing the ball. He could have very easily run the clock down, punted. So let's play for field position. Let's keep them out of the end zone. We'll go down 7-0 at the half, make some halftime adjustments, and then we'll come out and it'll be a different ball game. Right now they have to throw the ball, and the halftime adjustments are going to include, either you're going to have to get a big play out of one of these punts or kickoffs, or you're going to have to throw the ball and maybe get a little swing pass out to Gallagher. He seems to be the best receiver out of the bunch.
Well, down 2 scores and getting the ball back first, they will get the ball first to start the second half. You still have a chance to stick with your game plan, but your time is running out. I mean, if you don't get a big long drive doing what you do best, you're going to have to begin to change what you do. So that opening drive in the second half is going to be extremely key for Mars. Now, let's not get to that second half just yet. You got Mueller and Gallagher back there. Those guys could break a long one.
That's the big thing with those two. You have two guys that, they may not have too many yards right now, but they're always capable of breaking one. And, all of a sudden.
So here's Carpenter now with some room, and Carpenter tripped up at the 45-yard line. Carpenter stepped in front of Mueller to receive that kick, and Mike Wall was able to make the stop for Seton LaSalle on special teams. Mike Wall, a sophomore, getting a chance to play out here and making the tackle on Heinz Field. Always a thrill. 20 seconds remaining now in the first half. Come out in the wing tee with Tim Bean split to the top of your screen. Sunday in motion. And it's a fake, and they're going to try to throw. Roswald looking, getting pursued from the backside, throws one up for grabs, bobbled and intercepted, and it's Caputo once again. Oh man, is Mike Caputo having a big first half.
Well, that play was made right there. Maybe not so much by Mike Caputo, but by number 46, Andrew Baker. You're going to see him come in on Roswell's blind side. He's really going to light him up. Right there on that pass. Carmen Conley breaks it up. Caputo gets a hold of the ball. I thought maybe Mars would come out and protect the ball, run the clock, but they try to go for a big pass play to Gallagher. And, it's not really, this play may not hurt them so much because there's only 11 seconds left. But with a passing team like Seton LaSalle, you never know.
Well, they're going into the kneel-down mode here, and Doria will kneel down. And that's going to be the last play of the first half. Mike Caputo, a big half, catching a touchdown pass. Doria runs for one, also obviously threw the one to Caputo as well. Caputo comes up with a pair of interceptions, and Seton LaSalle leads 14-0. And, boy, if you're Mars, this is not what you wanted at all. Clearly behind 14-0 when you are a team that likes to run the ball.
Especially with the weather conditions. Everybody thought that the rain, the sloppy field, that might affect Seton LaSalle's passing game. But, Seton got the run established. Then they were able to open up with the pass, take advantage of the turnover, and now they're up 14-0, and it's halftime, and Mars is the one who's going to really have to make some adjustments and to get back in track of this game.
Yeah, as far as you're concerned, if you're Seton LaSalle, your coach Lucero, you're delighted. Your team has been able to throw the ball, your team has been able to run the ball, and your team has been able to get it done defensively as well. In fact, Lucero is standing by now with Trenny Kuznera. Trenny?
Well, Lou, 14-0, only 2 touchdowns, but in a game like this and conditions like this, that has to be huge for this team.
Yeah, that touchdown right before the half was huge. Mike made a nice play, and so did Anthony. So getting a touchdown that late on the way our defense is playing, I'm very pleased about that.
I was just going to ask you, your offense is clicking, but your defense is setting you up.
The defense is taking under their own power to control this game, which they have all year. They don't get much press. This is the first week they got press all year, and they sort of liked it. They want to keep on doing it.
What do you stress to the kids at halftime?
Just to stay on the even keel, keep your focus, keep playing the game you're playing. You should be okay.
Great. Thanks a lot. Best of luck.
Thank you.
That's it. We'll be back with more right after this.
Honey, breakfast is ready.
Okay, Puddin'. Just getting the paper. Good morning. Good morning. Hey. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi.
Good morning.
What's up?
Hey.
Good morning.
You know, you can get the trim delivered to your home every day for 13 weeks, just $9.99.
Premier Lincoln Mercury used vehicles starting at just $49.95. Premier Lincoln Mercury luxury sport and SUV. Premier Lincoln Mercury, your certified pre-owned dealer, save thousands. Premier Lincoln Mercury many cars under $10,000. Premier Lincoln Mercury bankruptcy, bad credit or no credit, you could have pre-approved credit right now. Premier Lincoln Mercury, you could get that second chance you deserve. Premier Lincoln Mercury, used cars start at just $49.95 at Premier Lincoln Mercury, Route 19 North, Cranberry Township.
You got a buck, you're in luck. Grimace. Bump with me.
Got a buck? You're in luck, because on McDonald's Dollar Menu, you can get a delicious beefy big and tasty or a McChicken sandwich for just $1. Or you can add on a snack-sized fruit and yogurt parfait, McValue fries, 2 pies, or more, all for just $1 each, every day at McDonald's.
You got a buck, you're in luck. We should take this act on the road. Maybe not.
This week on the NFL Show, the guys look back at McNabb's heroic effort and break down what the Eagles must do to stay in the playoff hunt. And you'll never believe what the Niners are saying as Tommy visits the Bay. The NFL Show on Fox Sports Net.
Come ball with us.
College basketball on Fox Sports Net. Big East Player of the Year, Brandon Knight, leads Pitt against Duquesne.
Come ball with us.
Tomorrow at 7 on Fox Sports Net.
The WPIAL Football Championships on Fox Sports Net are brought to you by Lennox Home Comfort Systems. Lennox makes your home a better place. And by UPMC Health System, choose your health care as if your life depended on it. We are getting the halftime festivities underway. Let's head down field side now to Trenny Kuzeric. Trenny?
Rob, Seton La-Salle leads at 14-0. And much as football is a part of football, so is the band. Here is Seton La-Salle's band. That was the Seton La-Salle band. Now we will jump over to the other sideline and take a listen to the Mars. Well, that was the Mars Fightin' Planets band. When we come back, Rob and Kevin will go over highlights and stats from the first quarter. Seton La-Salle leads it at the half, 14-0 here at Heinz Field. We'll be right back.
You got a buck, you're in luck. Grimace, bump with me.
Got a buck? You're in luck, because on McDonald's Dollar Menu, you can get a delicious beefy big and tasty or a McChicken sandwich for just $1. Or you can add on a snack-sized fruit and yogurt parfait, McValue fries, 2 pies, or more, all for just $1 each, every day at McDonald's.
You got a buck, you're in luck. We should take this act on the road. Maybe not.
Do you take pride in what you do? Do others recognize you as a leader? Are you passionate about education and mentoring young people? If so, the Academy has an opportunity for you. A nationally recognized innovator in working with today's youth, the Academy is currently seeking individuals to teach, counsel, and coach the next generation. For more information, call the Academy at 412-885-5200. The Academy, where hard work and dedication still matter. When cancer strikes the brain, it creates the most complex of dilemmas. How do you kill the tumor while preserving the mind? At Allegheny General, neurosurgeon Matthew Quigley does it with skill, technology, and teamwork. To preserve vital tissue, he plots the attack on a 3D image of the patient's own brain, then uses an infrared guidance system to find the tumor without the need for a large incision. For very deep tumors, he and radiation oncologist Russell Fuhrer team up to computer target the mass. They then direct hundreds of energy beams at the cancer with a linear accelerator guided by the radionics X-knife. The beam pattern conforms so precisely to the tumor's shape that surrounding tissue is left intact. The success of team assaults like these is one more reason we believe the best way to defeat cancer is to surround it. Allegheny General Hospital, part of the West Penn Allegheny Health System.
Welcome back to Heinz Field. Second half getting set to get underway. Seton La-Salle leads Mars 14-0 in the AA championships. And Kevin, really, if Lucero could have put out a game plan that he would want followed to a T, this would pretty much be it for his Rebels.
Oh, this has been excellent for them. They established the run early in the game, sets up the passing game. Mike Caputo has been a very terrific player for them, making big offensive plays, great defensive plays, a couple interceptions, and he's really set the tone. And you see the Rebels are really picking up on the enthusiasm of making these big plays early in the game, getting a 14-0 lead. And now it's up to Mars to make a comeback.
Rebels came out running, but it wasn't long before Anthony Doria got himself in the groove here, and you can see him with some nice underneath passes. This one to Caputo, hitting him in stride, the key here.
That's the big thing, the accuracy, puts the ball on the money, gives these guys a chance to make some yards after the catch. Now you'll see him go to Droney, the fullback. He gets a couple short yards, and then they get down inside where Doria can do it on his own, get a short yard, 1 yard run for a touchdown, and 7-0 lead.
That caps off a 10-play, 74-yard drive, and then Zach Roswag, late in the first half, is picked off here by Caputo. That gives Seton La-Salle the ball with excellent field position once again.
And now who does he look again? He goes back, big play to Tyler Maxtudis, and that sets up the big touchdown pass to none other than Mike Caputo. Guys, been big play for them all game so far. A couple big catches, a couple big interceptions, and then Anthony Doria has every reason to be celebrating right now.
Time now for our McDonald's first half stats. First downs, Seton La-Salle 10, Mars just 1. Rushing yards, Seton La-Salle winning that category. That is very bad news for Mars. They've got to get their ground game going. Passing yards, no surprise there. Doria 9 for 20 for 102 yards. 1 touchdown running, 1 touchdown passing. The total yards favor Seton La-Salle. Mars has turned it over 3 times. Time of possession fairly even. The total plays, Seton La-Salle has run many more. You'd expect that, of course, in the time of possession because they throw the ball a lot more than Mars. Mars has had 7 possessions, 4 punts, 3 turnovers. Scott Heinauer's got to find something here at halftime to turn this team around.
Yeah, he's going to have to turn to his book of tricks and, pull something out. You haven't seen Brad Mueller or Gallagher break a big one yet. Both are capable of it. It's a time for Mars Planets to kind of get their act together. They're going to need a big play from one of those 2 guys, and that's going to be the difference. If they can't pull it out, they're going to be on the losing side of this game.
And they will get the ball first to start the second half. That is the good news for Scott Heinauer, so they can still probably stick with their game plan of running the ball for a little while, at least in the third quarter. If they get a score, they can stick with it throughout the rest of the game. All right, the second half is coming up from Heinz Field. Seton La-Salle leading the Mars Fighting Planets 14-0. Back with more right after this.
Honey, breakfast is ready.
Okay, Puddin'. Just getting the paper. Good morning. Good morning. Hey. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey.
Good morning. What's up?
Hey.
Good morning.
You can get the trim delivered to your home every day for 13 weeks, just $9.99.
Doug Flutie achieved greatness on the gridiron, but his son's autism became his toughest challenge.
This is his calling in life.
Beyond the Glory, Sunday at 8 on Fox Sports Net.
This week on the NFL Show, the guys look back at McNabb's heroic effort and break down what the Eagles must do to stay in the playoff hunt. And you'll never believe what the Niners are saying as Tommy visits the Bay. The NFL Show on Fox Sports Net.
The design and performance are unsurpassed. They offer comfort, and best of all, this high-performance line uses up to 50% less fuel. The Lennox line of high-efficiency furnaces. To enjoy the quiet comfort of a reliable, efficient Lennox furnace in your home, call 1-800-9-LENNOX for the dealer nearest you. Lennox, unparalleled savings, comfort, and performance.
Hey everyone, this is Rob Pratt and welcome to my world, the world of my good friend George Leon at West Penn Billiards and their brand new location, Route 19 South in Cannonsburg, the #1 pool table dealer in the nation. West Penn Billiards, the only dealer for the top 5 brands of pool tables at all the top manufacturers on bars and stools and related game room equipment. Family owned and operated for 40 years. Stop by any of their 3 locations in the North Hills, Murraysville, and the new store, Route 19 South, Cannonsburg. Get the best price and service. It's guaranteed. West Penn Billiards.
Well, we might need official word from Joe DiNardo, but I think unofficially it could not get worse. The weather is miserable, low 30s, raining, the wind is picked up, it's wet, it's sloppy, mixed precipitation. It is a mess out there right now. Seton La-Salle leads Mars 14-0 to start of the third quarter here. And maybe, just maybe, this pickup of the wind here and the precipitation will ground the Seton La-Salle passing attack, give Mars a chance to get back in it. But so far, Anthony Doria has not been affected by the rain, the conditions at all. He has been very sharp, very crisp, especially when you take into account how miserable it is out there. Let's go down to the field now and find out what Scott Heinauer has planned for the second half. Trenny Kuznerich standing by with the Mars coach. Trenny?
Thanks, Rob. First of all, Scott, do you change your game plan at all, down 14-0 heading into the second half?
No, I mean, I think we have to, we have to be able to run the football. We get the ball in the second half, and we talked a lot about staying on our blocks. I mean, we're forcing the football. We've created 3 turnovers. That's more turnovers than we've had in 6 games. So we just got to stop turning the football over and play. I mean, our defense is not doing bad. We just can't give them opportunities like we have. But we're going to come out, put a touchdown on the board, and make us get back in the football game.
Great. Thank you very much, Coach. Best of luck second half. That's it, guys. 14-0. Mars will try to come back here in the second half. Back up to you.
All right, Trenny, thanks very much. Nice chapeau there as well by Trenny. Scott Heinauer, I think, losing his voice. I don't know whether it's the weather conditions or whether he's had some things to say on the sidelines or at halftime, but Scott Heinauer, a very passionate guy, has done a great, great job with this Mars program. He's been there for 11 seasons. We mentioned how the program was just in a shambles before he got there. 8 times they've reached the playoffs. This is now their second trip to the championship. Seton La-Salle, following the blueprint of what Coach Lucero wanted to do, he said this has been his best team by far. You know, a Seton La-Salle guy through and through, played there, part of 2 championships in 79 and 80. He's a player, an assistant coach to Greg Gattuso in 90 when they won the AAA championship. So, you know, each of these guys very passionate, and we're going to see what their teams have to offer here in the second half. Every night, it's Pittsburgh Sports Tonight. It's 30 minutes of nightly sports news completely dedicated to the home teams throughout Pittsburgh. For extended regional highlights and in-depth interviews, catch Pittsburgh Sports Tonight every night at 10 o'clock only on Fox Sports Net. Tonight we'll have complete WPIAL coverage, and will Perry be able to compete?
Well, I don't think there's any question. I think it's a matter of will anybody be able to score on Perry? Not whether you can beat the Commodores, but whether you can score on them. Because, you know, last week, General McLean had a chance. They passed up going for the field goal. They said, we didn't want to get any cheap points against Perry. We wanted to score on them for real. They threw the ball, intercepted at the 1-yard line, and Eric Wicks goes 99 yards for a touchdown. That's the risk you take playing against the Perry Commodores this year.
Perry has been awesome, and we'll see how they do in the state championships. As we have the captains assembled out there at midfield, and Mars will get the ball first, and they will be moving left to right with the wind at their back. It's a wind or a gale now. You can see the flags flapping around here. The wind has really, really picked up, particularly on the open end, the south end here at Heinz Field.
Yeah, you can see the wind swirling a little bit, the rain kind of going in toward the south end and then kind of whipping back in down by the side where the river is coming up. It's going to be really tough to throw the ball in the second half. You know, I don't know whether that plays into Seton's advantage or into Mars' advantage. You know, maybe Seton won't be able to throw the ball, but maybe Mars won't be able to if they're coming from behind and need to throw the ball.
Good point. And the wind and the weather conditions, the cold, made it difficult to hang on to the ball. We saw 2 fumbles on the very first 2 plays of the game. Actually 3. The opening kickoff was fumbled. The first play was fumbled by Joe Del Sardo for Seton La-Salle. The very next play was fumbled by Brad Mueller. So boom, 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 3 fumbles. It is very, very difficult. I'll tell you what, you're out there, your hands are cold, not only because of the conditions, but because they're constantly on the ground, which is wet. It becomes very difficult not just to hang on to the ball because it's cold and slippery, but because your hands begin to lose sensation, begin to get numb.
And even worse, sometimes your feet. You know, you have to stand on them the whole time, and they're going to be soaking wet. And that's what you feel. You get that heat comes in through the hands and the feet, the top of the head, and if you're wet all over, you become miserable, like you said, and you really don't want to play in this.
Ryan Irvine set to kick off, going to squib a short one, picked up by Ken Carpenter, and moves along the right sideline and picks up some yardage as he eluded the first tackle attempt by Tyler Maxtutis. So excellent field position to start off for the Mars Fighting Planets, and it looked like, again, they were trying to keep it away from Gallagher, keep it away from Mueller, and don't allow a big play right off the bat. But
you can blame them.
Yeah, great field position here for the Planets as they will take over on their own 46-yard line. Zach Roswag trots onto the field and will lead the Planets out on the wing tee. Hustling to the line of scrimmage. Tim Bean split to the top of the screen. Mueller is the fullback, and this is Sunday in motion. Give to Mueller inside. They'll fight forward for a couple on first down. Tackle made by Chris Droney, the junior, who doubles as the fullback as well. Most of the players here, as you have been able to tell by now, play both ways for this team.
Yeah, that's
for each team.
That's one of the key things. Schools this small, they have to be able to go both ways. You have to have kids, not only the toughness and the skill, but maybe the stamina as well, just to be able to stay on the field the entire game.
Well, I don't think you can really tell by TV, but again, the precipitation coming down in gusts, the wind swirling around inside of Heinz Field here as Zach Roswag leads his team to the line of scrimmage. 2nd and 8 situation. Tight end to the right side. Handoff on the crossbuck inside to Gallagher. Gallagher fights forward, big collision with Maxtutis, drags him forward for another couple of yards, and picks up just the 2nd first down of the game for the Mars Planets.
Well, that's only, the 2nd or 3rd carry for Gallagher this game. I'm wondering why they've waited so long to give him the ball, and he shows you right there what he can do when he gets a running start. He gets a first down, big play for the Mars Planets, kind of gets them going for once. It's a nice thing to see a team get a first down, get some momentum going.
Almost as fast as Mueller, not quite. He's got great speed though, and a bit more of a bruiser than Mueller, a bigger kid, and he's come on and had a very, very good second half of the season. Power to the left here. Hand off to Mueller. Mueller looking for room again inside and again finding none. Maybe picked up a yard. Maybe. Steve Morse led the charge defensively. Chris Droney in there as well again on the stop.
Well, the one thing, Rob, you see with Mars, this time down here, as opposed to 96, these guys are coming down here with the full intention of winning this game. And 96, it was their first time in the championship game. They might have been a little bit in awe. But Heinauer, he's been here before. A lot of his assistants have been here before. And they said, we came down here. These kids are more businesslike this time. They know they have the opportunity to be the measuring stick for the school. They're excited, but they want to put their mark on history.
Got a great shot there of exactly what the conditions are like. Now quick reverse on the inside handoff to Sunday. Sunday, one tackler to beat, can't, but still picks up the first down. Tackle made way downfield by Carmen Connolly, the sophomore free safety. We saw that shot from the cameras. Miserable conditions here. And check it out, the quick reverse on the inside handoff from Gallagher to Sunday, and he had room to ramble.
Sunday made a great cut there, shook Joe Del Sardo. The only guy to beat, Carmen Connolly, comes up, wraps him around the ankles, saves another touchdown. It's the 2nd time he's done that tonight.
And Steve Zatola, the wide receiver, we should mention, with a very good block on the perimeter, able to help spring Sunday. Now wing T, power right, quick pitch to Gallagher. All right, beg your pardon, this is Mueller. Mueller on the right side, cuts back inside. Mueller still on his feet, inside the 10-yard line, makes a cut inside, and scrambles all the way down inside the 1-yard line. Brad Mueller rips off a run of nearly 30 yards, and the Fighting Planets are right back in business.
Well, Scott Heinauer said we're going to go down and score a touchdown right away. They're 1 yard away from doing that. You see Brad Mueller make a big run, big play for the Mars Planets. Here he comes out to the right side. They got a seal block from Gallagher. Then he cuts inside and makes 2 guys miss right there. And all of a sudden, you're going to see Mike Caputo come up, kicks his leg up, and trips him up at the 1 yard line. That was a kind of a...
As Zach Roswalk now sneaks over from inside the 1 yard line. And the Mars Fighting Planets have come out fighting in the first half. 53 yards and just 1 first down in the second half prior to that play. 53 yards and 3 first downs. And we have played less than 3 minutes. So Mars back in business, trailing now 14-6. The old swinging gate. I thought they made that illegal here at Heinz Field. 6-play, 54-yard drive takes up 2:55. Snap down, Rape's kick is up, and it is no good. Josh Rape to the open end, the south end zone, known to be loathed now by Steelers fans. A very difficult place to kick. Pushed wide right, but Mars gets on the board. They trail 14-6. You heard Scott Heinauer telling Trenny Kuzniak, hey, we're going to come down, we're going to score on the opening drive, and we're going to get right back in this game. That's exactly what they've been able to do.
Well, his words are looking prophetic, and he must have come up with a great play in the second half. He must have really lit into those guys, as you said.
Roswell gets a good search from his offensive line, goes in for the score, and Mars has new life. Now, if you're Seton La-Salle, the wind has picked up, the conditions have gotten worse. You've been able to run it and throw it in the first half. Do you go to Carmen Connell here right out of the chute, or do you continue to let Doria throw the ball?
Well, that's what I'd take your chances with your offensive line. They were able to move the ball, get Carmen Connolly, get some positive yards over and over again. Why take the risk when you have guys that can fly like Gallagher and Mueller and Sunday? Why take the risk of throwing an interception and letting them tie it up right here? I say play it safe. Run the ball. Maybe bring in Androni and let him run the ball a little bit, or even Steve Morse, the backup fullback. Let these guys take some shots at it and move the ball and wear Mars out a little bit.
Josh Rape with a kick, scrambling around on the ground. Maxidudis picks it up, cuts back inside. A swarm of tacklers. Ken Carpenter in there along with some help from his teammates at the 25-yard line. So Seton LaSalle, not great field position as they take over for the first time here in the second half, and they've seen their lead cut from 14-0 at the half to 14-6 now.
And like you said, the kicking at that open end of the stadium has been a tough chore for kickers of all levels, high school, college, and the pros. And Seton LaSalle benefited by scoring both times in the second quarter down on the opposite end of the field.
High formation, handoff to Connolly, looking for some room over the right side, and he is dragged down. Sean Roach, the nose guard, got there first, got some help defensively, but it's Roach who made the play, and Connolly picks up nothing on first down. Now Mars looking to build off the momentum with that long drive that resulted in a touchdown. Comes up with a big play on first down here defensively. Doria breaks his team from the huddle, has Caputo split to the bottom of your screen. Top of the screen will be Joe Del Sardo. Connolly in the eye. Droney is the up back. Doria, quick drop. Will throw the fade outside, and a beautiful throw dragged in by Del Sardo. Oh, just a gorgeous pass by Doria.
That's the second time they've connected on that type of pass. Over the shoulder pass to Del Sardo along the sideline. Last time they did it going the opposite way on the left-hand side. This time it's to the right. Over the shoulder, look, Gallagher really doesn't have a chance, even though he's stride for stride with Joe Del Sardo.
You have to feel badly for Gallagher. He's been in excellent position defensively all day, but Doria has just been pinpoint with the passes. Del Sardo, an excellent receiver, has been able to bring him in. Tight end right side, I formation. Give to Connolly now, looking to the left side, cutting back to the right. Surging forward, picks up nearly 5 on first down.
And speaking of Del Sardo, this is a big weekend for his family. He plays in the WPIAL championship game tonight. Tomorrow, his family goes down to Moorhead, Kentucky to see his brother Ralph play in the Pioneer League championship game. So you're going to have back-to-back championship games for the Del Sardo family. Ralph Del Sardo is a junior receiver at Moorhead State. He played at Seton LaSalle and set a couple records for Moorhead this year in a single game record. So, it's a big weekend for the family. They get to see 2 championship games in 2 days.
Del Sardo and Carmen Connolly, first cousins. We'll talk about a little bit more of that in a moment. Connolly gets the handoff, goes off the right side. This time nothing, as he's brought down after a 1-yard gain by Derek Chaffray. And they got another cousin playing a little ball at Toledo as well.
Bruce Grakowski, the almost 3,000-yard passer, I teased Joey Del Sardo last week. He threw his first career completion, a 30-yard halfback option. I said, well, you only have 2,950 yards to go to catch Brucey. So, give busting his chops a little bit there. But, this kid's a really close, tight-knit family. They're practically like brothers. They have those two, the two Del Sardo boys, Bruce Gradkowski, and you have Carmen Connolly. And I'll tell you a little bit more about the rest of the family coming up.
All right, 3rd and 3, big play here. Doria brings the team to the line of scrimmage, going to run the option, and will keep, and going to be very close to the first down. This is going to depend entirely upon the spot. Looked to me like he got it by a couple of inches as Roach and DeMarco were in there in the stop for Mars. This is going to be close, and they're going to call for a measurement.
And this is where you see Doria doing what he does very, very well. The short yardage, get the tough yards, makes a good read, nice cut, and gets in there. It looks like he's going to have, they're going to have the measurement, but he's very, very close.
Got it. I think he's got it here. The lines on the field are obliterated by this weather. There's just nothing left. You can't see, the yard markers 41, 42, 43, etc. But it looks to me like he's got this, and he does.
Well, they came out at halftime and took these rollers, and they look like little steam rollers, and they rolled the field to try to dry it off. The field drains very well, but all it seems to do is eliminate what's left of the grass.
The Bengals and Steelers are going to have their work cut out for them on Sunday. The crew is to get this field ready, but of course there's a couple more ball games to be played here, including the second half of this one. So Seton La-Salle comes right out, picks up 2 first downs, started this drive from their own 25-yard line out now to the 47-yard line. Doria, this very familiar formation, eye with the power right, countered out of the left, no counter tray play, picks up about a yard. Roach is there into the tackle. Sean Roach has come out and played very well on nose guard here in the second half for the Mars Planets.
We talked about that Del Sardo, Gradkowski, Connolly family. They have another one coming up. There's been, I think it's going to be like 6-7 years that these guys have all been playing for Lucero. Another one coming up next year. He's an 8th grader, Gino Gradkowski, 6'1", 210 pounds in 8th grade at St. Margaret's in Scotland. He's too big to play organized football right now, so they're going to have to wait. He's not going to get to play actual football until next season.
Eye to the right, Doria rolling out, looking downfield, and this one sails on him a little bit, intended for Caputo. Incomplete, out of bounds, going to bring up a 3rd and 9 for the Rebels. Well, they picked up 1 first down on a 3rd and about 3 or so. Now this time 3rd and 9. A little bit more of a challenge as Tyler Maxtudis comes in. Droney goes out. So we're going to see a 3 wide receiver set here for Anthony Doria and the Seton La-Salle Rebels. This is just what the doctor ordered for them. Come out, get a couple of first downs, take a little bit of that momentum away from Mars after their opening drive touchdown here in the second half.
More importantly, they're really wearing the clock down. This drive has already taken 4 minutes.
Doria straight drop back, looking, and finds Maxtudis. Well-conceived play, and Maxtudis gets the first down and plenty more inside the 40-yard line. Great patience there. DeMarco and Sunday make the stop, but we saw everybody coming to the right, and then Maxtudis released late underneath and was wide open.
And I think this is one of Anthony Doria's best qualities. He's very, very patient for a high school quarterback. He just waits and waits until his receiver's open, and Maxtudis gets the first down.
Well, you see misdirections, and we're seeing that with a wing T. You get everybody dragged one way, then you try to come back the other way. That's a misdirection pass. You get everybody moving from right to left across the formation, then Maxtudis snuck in the other way. And a good play, well conceived, good patience by Doria. Nice play by Maxtudis to pick up the first down. High formation, tight end right, split receivers. Doria will hand to Connolly up the middle. Crashing in and making the tackle is DeMarco after a pickup of a couple.
I'll give this to the Mars defense. They're definitely outsized out there, but Scott Heinauer has taken the philosophy that he'd rather have size over strength. And you see these guys, they are flying to the ball. You don't get to go a yard or two before somebody from Mars is going to hit you. Now, whether they tackle you or not is going to be a different story, but they're always going to hit you on the first yard or two. They just seem to fly right to the ball.
They are fast, like a blue swarm out there. A lot of guys charging to the ball. Doria, Droney the up back, Connolly the deep back once again. Power right, under the leg. Connolly over to the right side, bangs forward for a couple more. Tackle made by Tim Sunday once again. Sunday, DeMarco, and Bean. You could predict that they would be active. We mentioned earlier Team's 3 leading tacklers, and for the second time, all 3 players were first team all-conference. That's amazing. Well, now a 3rd and 4.5 or thereabouts. 12th play of this drive coming up for the Rebels. They are marching methodically down the field, mixing up the run and the pass. Staying in the I formation here. Doria will run the option once again. Cuts back inside and continues to surge forward. Boy, he is so strong. Bean and DeMarco came in there. He was initially hit on the other side of the 30, about the 31-yard line, was able to power forward. It's going to bring up 4th down, but it's going to bring up 4th and very, very short.
You see Doria, one of the things he does very well in the short yardage, he just keeps his legs moving. He's a tough kid. He's hard to bring down. He's a 200-pounder. He just knows how to use his size to his advantage.
Well, that's a huge play because instead of 4th and 2.5 or 3, I think you can just about bet your bottom dollar that Doria's going to be able to go for the sneak here, that he's going to get it on the sneak.
Well, last time he had to go for the sneak, he went to the left side, followed Kraske, and in his left guard, Farrell. Let's see if he does that again.
He'll go straight ahead this time, I think. That's what he tries to do, held up. Once again, continues with a good threat. Now loses the football. Had the whistle blown? No, it is turned over, still alive, and finally brought down. Wow, Mike Caputo picked it up and tried to advance it, and is going to come up just short, it appears. I don't even think they're going to have to measure this. They may, but wow, what a wild play.
You see Doria's trying to stretch the ball out and stretch it across the line. It's a heads-up play by Caputo to pick up the ball and try to go forward. I mean, he only came a yard shy of the first down marker.
So Mars gets the ball back, trailing now just 14-6. Back with more from Heinz Field right after this.
I was thinking the worst. I was just being a regular human being. I mean, just sitting there watching him open up the folder to tell me this. One, I didn't know what Hodgkin's disease was. Whatever's in you, this cancer, is eating you. It was one of the scariest moments of my life. My doctors know what they're doing. That will determine whether someone like me lives or dies.
In the recent listing of America's best doctors, virtually all the cancer doctors in Western Pennsylvania work at UPMC. No wonder UPMC is the top-rated cancer program in the state.
My son was just born 7 weeks ago tomorrow, and I'm going to be here for a long time to come to be with him. I got to make it through with the Cancer Center's help to make sure this guy gets on a good foot.
Welcome back to Heinz Field. Game between Seton, La-Salle, and Mars, the AA Championship. Here's our Tribune Review game summary. Doria, under horrible conditions, has thrown for 1 touchdown, run for another. Mars has turned it over 3 times. Mike Caputo, a great game, 2 interceptions, and a touchdown catch offensively for Seton, La-Salle. Now a delay. Mueller gets the ball. It looked like it was out of sync, but I think that's what they intended to do. It was an odd-looking play off the motion and the delay. Mueller came back inside, picked up a couple.
It seemed like there was some confusion, but they ended up giving the ball to the right guy, and he still got some plus yardage, so can't argue with it.
Are you a little surprised they haven't tried to get Mueller outside more? Because some good things have happened when they've gotten him outside. Well, yeah. You know, some bad things have happened too. He was dragged down for a 2-yard loss, but he's got that great speed, and clearly if he can punch it through inside and he can be off to the races, but it would be interesting to see if they try to get him to the edge.
I'm just surprised that they have him running inside and not Gallagher to open him up.
Quick pitch outside this time to Mueller, and boy, that was snuffed out quickly, so I got my wish and it didn't work, huh?
That looked like that was number 57. 54.
That was
Pat McCarty.
That was Harrison, Matt Harrison, the strong side defensive end, 6'1", 210-pound senior, who came in and made the stop, and now 3rd and 12 situation. And
that's
Mars
the risk
is
you take.
1 of 6 on 3rd down. That's exactly right.
That's the risk you take with the pitch, Rob, and I think that's why Scott Heiner's been playing the percentages.
Roswag now will try to keep it on the ground. Shuttle pass inside to Sunday. He's got some room. Has a blocker out front with Bean, and they pick up the first down. So resorting to the trickery and the inside shovel pass. And I'll tell you what, too, Scott Heinauer has come up with some very interesting and very productive calls here in the first moments of the second half.
Well, I absolutely love this call because the one thing with the shovel pass, if the play falls apart, it's an incompletion. You don't have to worry about the turnover aspect of it unless he throws an interception. But, you know, what a terrific call. Sunday's been a nice change of pace back for them. They seem to find him on the misdirections, on the shovel passes, those types of plays, and he gets a lot of nice yards. A couple big plays for him now.
Cross bucket, and Sunday again coming inside, and Sunday will squirm forward for another 7 yards. Now, usually it's been Gallagher off Mueller, so the teams can't key on Mueller. Gallagher, in fact, on 168 yards against Riverside here in the playoffs when there was attention focused on Mueller. But now we have Sunday as the guy coming off of Gallagher and coming off of Mueller, and he's been productive.
And he was real nice on that inside handoff, and I think what they're doing is they're keying on Gallagher, they're keying on Mueller, and this is a guy who keeps coming off misdirection plays and cuts right through the middle.
And key yardage on first down. When you're not a team that throws the ball well, you want to pick up good yardage on first down. Now the handoff off the right side, and Mueller is going to pick up one, perhaps two. Matt Harrison in on the stop, as well as Chris Sanders. They picked up a couple, and it's going to bring up a 3rd and 2. That might be the last play here of the third quarter. Totola running a play on, but I don't think they're going to get this one off in time as we get down to 10 seconds remaining in the third quarter. What has been a productive third quarter for the Mars Fighting Planets. Come out to the line of scrimmage, and there's the whistle. It ends the third quarter, but Mars has cut into that 14-0 lead. It's now 14-6, a brand new ball game as we begin the fourth quarter, and we will right after this from Heinz Field.
The buzz has been so great on the all-new 2003 Accord that we've had to keep it under wraps. Oops. See more at Beryl Honda in Wexford, Pittsburgh's largest Honda dealer.
Honey, breakfast is ready.
Okay, Puddin'. Just getting the paper. Good morning. Good morning. Hey. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi.
Good morning. What's up?
Hey.
Good morning.
You know, you can get the trim delivered to your home every day for 13 weeks, just $9.99.
You got a buck, you're in luck. Grimace, bump with me.
Got a buck? You're in luck, because on McDonald's Dollar Menu, you can get a delicious beefy big and tasty or a McChicken sandwich for just $1. Or you can add on a snack-sized fruit and yogurt parfait, McValue fries, 2 pies, or more. All for just $1 each, every day at McDonald's.
You got a buck, you're in luck. We should take this act on the road. Maybe not.
Save over $14,000 versus new on Beryl Pre-Owned Cadillacs. 2002 Sedan DeVille's $27,490 with 3.9% financing and a 6-year, 100,000-mile warranty. Backed by Beryl Cadillac, Route 19 in Wexford.
I said put Icy Hot in the Lions kicker's sock, not Brian Urlacher's jock. Huh?
JB, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy host football's most animated pregame show, featuring Jillian's Forecast and Kimmel's Upset Special. Fox NFL Sunday, this week on your local Fox station.
Bradshaw?
Welcome back to Heinz Field. Executive producer Paul Kasut of Fox Sports Net. A little plaque under the arm. See if I can wrestle that away from him and hang it up in our little office. Little compared to the spacious one he's got. Roswag with the quarterback sneak surges forward. First down for Mars. So they keep the drive alive. Now Seton La-Salle led 14-0 at the half. We heard Scott Heinauer talking to Trenny Kuznirik right after the half. Said, hey, we're going to march down, we're going to score, and it's going to be a new game. And it has been exactly that. That score has allowed Mars to remain within their game plan, which is running the ball.
And that's what they do best, and that's what they want to do. They don't want to have to resort to passing. You know, they've already thrown 2 interceptions. They have 3 turnovers. Let's play safe ball. Let's move the ball down the field. Very methodical. Get some big plays. Try to get a touchdown.
Gallagher came in motion. Handoff went to Mueller instead. I think, you know, you talk about Mueller, and it's interesting. Scott Heinauer obviously knew he had blazing speed. But he found out in the playoffs that Mueller had something else, the ability to tuck his shoulder and bang into people. He's had to do a lot of that today. He's not afraid to stick his nose in there. I mean, we always talk about him as a speed guy, but he's a tough kid, too.
Yeah, he's not a real big kid, I mean, I think they list him generously at 6 foot, 175, 180 pounds. He's not a very big kid, but he is tough. He's got strong legs. He's willing to dip his shoulder. His brother Brandon plays free safety at Princeton, and he was known as a big hitter on defense. And Brandon has a little bit of that in him.
Mueller getting the pitch now, trying to go wide, dragged down by Joe Del Sardo. Excellent play by Del Sardo. Just to get back to Mueller again quickly for a moment, you talked about those 3 games over 1,000 yards. Those were against Apollo Ridge, North Catholic, and Deer Lakes. 3 games, 72 carries, 1,043 yards. In those 3 games, he averaged 14.5 yards per carry and had 15 rushing touchdowns in 3 games. No wonder BC, Wisconsin, Duke, Michigan State, and others are banging down his door, although they want him to play, I think most teams, defensive back in college.
Well, that's the one thing that was really impressive about that run he had there, with three-game run. He became the 8th back in the WPIAL history to run for 400 yards in a game when he had 403 against Apollo Ridge. So he joined a pretty exclusive club along the way.
Gallagher now in the misdirection. Del Sardo strings it out, gets some help from Max Studis. And they got about 4 or 5 back, but Del Sardo staying home on the trickery was the key to that play. Gets the help from Max Studis. So Del Sardo made the play on the near side on 2nd down, and then is able to make the play on the far side of the field on 3rd down, and it's going to now bring up a 4th and 8, and it looks like Mars is going for it. Zatola calls the play in, Bean comes out, and 4th and 8, Mars is going to go for it.
And you got to wonder what Scott Heinauer has in store for this play, because it takes a lot of guts to go for it on 4th, 7, 4th, and 8.
Roswell calls the signal, play action, fake to Mueller. Rolling to his left, looking nowhere to go, keeps the ball and is swarmed under. Chris Droney strung it out, then fought off his block and was the first one there. Chris Sanders was also there. Steve Morse was there, and Andrew Baker was there. All 4 guys converging on Roswell. Lost a couple, and they're going to give it back to Seton La-Salle at midfield.
They're looking great coverage in the secondary by Seton La-Salle. Roswell was looking for Dalator and Zatola, but he really had, they're both covered. He had nowhere to throw the ball to, so he just kept running and running until he finally got dropped.
So it goes over on downs to Seton La-Salle. Back with more from Heinz Field right after this.
The design and performance are unsurpassed. They offer comfort, and best of all, this high-performance line uses up to 50% less fuel. The Lennox line of high-efficiency furnaces. To enjoy the quiet comfort of a reliable, efficient Lennox furnace in your home, call 1-800-9-LENNOX for the dealer nearest you. Lennox, unparalleled savings, comfort, and performance.
You got a buck, you're in luck. Grimace, bump with me.
Got a buck? You're in luck, because on McDonald's Dollar Menu, you can get a delicious beefy big and tasty or McChicken sandwich for just $1. Or you can add on a snack-sized fruit and yogurt parfait, McValue fries, 2 pies, or more. All for just $1 each, every day at McDonald's.
You got a buck, you're in luck. We should take this act on the road. Maybe not.
The WPIAL Football Championships on Fox Sports Net are brought to you by the UPMC Health System. Choose your health care as if your life depended on it. All right, back to live action now. Anthony Doria takes his team from midfield, and they move down to the 45-yard line, or close to it. Carmen Connolly on the 1st down run. Mars had to give it over on downs. The sort of group sack on Zach Roswag there. And now Seton La-Salle has a chance to take command of this game. They're up by 8. Mars is not a team that likes to throw it all that often, although we mentioned Roswag earlier in the broadcast. Did lead them to that win over Center by his passing earlier in the season.
Well, that was a big risk, and now Seton La-Salle has excellent field position to start this drive.
Connolly there hit hard. DeMarco in on the stop.
Connolly is stunned by Dan DeMarco.
And Connolly is up and okay. He was laying there for just a moment. I wasn't sure, but he and Gable hit him pretty hard. Trenny Kuzniak now standing by down in the field. Trenny?
Rob Kraske. He is an offensive and a defensive lineman. He blew out his shoulder in the second practice of the year way back in August. But since then, he's been wearing a brace that allows his left arm only to extend a quarter of a way. His shoulder pops out 3 or 4 times a game, but he insisted on playing through this, and he's here today in the championship game.
Thank you, Trenny. Quick pitch out to the left side, and Connolly, plenty of room to ramble. Sunday eventually makes the tackle, but not before a first down run of 11 yards. And another good block there out in front as we take a look at this play. Pulling, that was Steve Morse, the backup fullback to Chris Droney. He plays quite a bit offensively and, of course, is a starter on defense. Morse with an excellent kick-out block there. Allows Connolly to get to the corner.
Well, Morse is a guy who completely transformed his body. They said when he came to Sal, he was kind of heavy. He's real uncoordinated. He's the guy who's got into powerlifting, and he's become a physical force for the team. He's about 6'2", 2 1/4. He's just a really tough kid, and he's a very strong kid on the team. You saw him carry the ball right there.
Yeah, Morse plows forward, picks up 6, perhaps 7 yards on the first down run. 6'2", 225. That is a big kid. Both he and Droney are loads. Droney is 6'1", 220. Both are juniors. Both are big, very physical players. I formation, power to the right side. Receiver split to each side of the formation for Doria. Comes under center, 2nd and 4. And will give to the deep back, Connolly. Bounces it outside, looks for some room. Stacked up pretty well on the outside there. King in on the tackle as well as Dallator. And Ken Carpenter came up from his defensive backfield position to put the final lick on Connolly.
We were talking about Kraske. You know, I asked Lucero, I said, you know, is this kid playing because he wants to, you know, have a chance to go to Division I school? Is this about playing for college? He said, no, this kid loves football. He said he can go to any school he wants. He's a 4.5 student, one of the top 10 students in his class, and he said his Ivy League schools are all interested in him. Harvard, Yale, Cornell, and even Johns Hopkins is interested in him. This is a guy who has his, you know, his future is very bright for him.
Connolly goes to 100 yards in that last run, 22 carries for 100. Handoff inside to Steve Morse, and Morse is going to be close to the first down. Appears to be perhaps a foot or so short of the first down. And let's see if they're going to decide to measure it. Nope, they're just going to call it 4th down. 4th, and it's going to be about a foot or so here. See the quick handoff inside. A nice tackle by Tim Bean, crashing in and hanging on. Think we'll see a quarterback sneak here?
Oh, you know, they took the risk last time. It backfired on them. They're a little deeper in territory. I would say the percentages are to go with Doria in the sneak one more time.
Now they're going to pitch it out wide to Connolly. Connolly cuts back inside and picks up the first down. Well, their favorite play in that short yardage situation is the quarterback sneak. Doria fumbled it last time. Good call by you, Kevin. Well done. They might not risk it, and they did. They go to Connolly here on the pitch. DeMarco went on the stop, but Connolly able to pick up a couple and get the first down.
Well, that's, you know, that's a tough call there, especially after it failed last time. Whether you go back and say, hey, let's try it again, or when, you know, they could even take a chance, punt them and pin it. But this is, they want to go down there, put some points on the board, extend that lead, and really put Mars in trouble. You know, if you have a nice lead there, Mars doesn't have much time to get a drive going.
Pitch out to Connolly. He's going to try the right side this time. Bounces outside. Sunday will eventually shove him out of bounds. But again, another good first down run by Connolly. Picked up about 6, close to 7 yards on that first down play. And now the clock definitely is a factor. Just 5:22 remaining. Seton La-Salle leads 14-6. They're on the drive. They've got it deep in Mars territory, just outside the 15-yard line, and a 2nd and 4.
And, you know, I don't think Mars expected to see Seton La-Salle come out and beat them at their own game. You know, Carmen Connolly's been a big factor in this game, 100 yards rushing. But the offensive line of Kraske, Farrell, McCarty, Hoke, and Sanders has really gotten the job done and really, you know, kind of just let them power the ball up and down the field.
2 receivers split, power to the left side, and that's where Connolly's headed on the sweep. And drives forward on second effort, picks up another first down. Carmen Connolly, you talked about this earlier, as Dan Dallator in there on the stop for Mars. Not a real big kid, but he will lay the hitting on you out there. I mean, he's slender, he's just a sophomore, but he's bringing it. total plays, by the way, Seton LaSalle's won 59, Mars just 36, but Connolly's been very impressive.
Well, I like to tease his parents because, the kid's got an Italian first name and an Irish last name. I said, well, that's the Irish in him that's running hard like that, But, the Italians and them, they didn't really take too kindly to those words. But, me being Irish, I have to get my jabs in, too.
Here's Connolly again over the right side, this time stacked up pretty well and driven back.
See, that was the Italian in him right there, Rob. That was the Italian in him.
Another one, Dan DeMarco makes the stop. Okay, let's go down to Trenny Kuznarek now. Trenny?
Guys, I just overheard Mars head coach Scott Heinauer talking to his coordinators upstairs. His defensive unit seems to be a little confused as to what to do. There's still about 4.5 minutes left in the game, but Seton LaSalle is using a lot of clock management. They're not exactly sure what kind of defense they're supposed to play.
Thank you very much, Trenny, and that has been a problem here because they really needed to stop, but Seton LaSalle has risen to the occasion offensively. Even if they don't get points here, they've chewed up a lot of clock. Doria under center will pitch to Connolly. Reverse now coming back this way. Fumble laid on the carpet. Tim Bean makes the nice tackle in the backfield. Caputo lost the ball, but it bounced up right to him. Very, very fortunate break for Seton LaSalle. And an excellent play by Tim Bean.
Well, Bean breaks up. He breaks up a big play here. Caputo's been the big play guy for them all season, and especially in this game. But you see Tim Bean come in, read the play, get his arm around there, wraps him, and strips that ball. Luckily, Caputo falls right on it.
Wow, bounced right to him. And it looked like that play might have gone for big yardage, but Bean blew it up. And now it is third and very long. Third and goal from the 18-yard line. Doria with the I formation. Drop back, looking, has plenty of time, throws to Caputo. It is broken up by Ken Carpenter there defensively, and that's going to bring up fourth down. And I suppose you go for it here. Probably too long to try a Doria field goal. So you go for it once again.
I don't know if you want to take that chance of going for the field goal. The other thing you have to be careful with is that you have guys like Brad Mueller and Chris Gallagher back there. We say this over and over and over. But Gallagher's returning an interception 100 yards for a touchdown this season. He's not the kind of guy that you want to risk trying to squeeze a pass in there. They're almost better off if they go for the pass. If it's not there, throw it out of bounds, throw it out of the end zone, and just let Mars take the ball and see if they can drive 80 yards in 3.5 minutes.
Four wides. We expected to see a lot of this. Three receivers put to the top of the screen. Pass underneath to Del Sardo. No, I beg your pardon. Caputo, and Caputo is there for the score. Oh, a beautifully thrown ball by Doria to Caputo. And that's going to pretty much put things out of reach, you would have to guess here. Seton LaSalle leads 20-6 on a 4th and goal from the 18.
Well, they only had one chance to get the ball in the end zone by pass. They go to the guy that's done it for them all game, Mike Caputo. I mean, who else can you ask? What more can you ask for from this kid?
Chris Gallagher in coverage once again, and Gallagher's really had pretty good coverage, but Doria has gotten it in there. This one's blocked, still loose on the ground, and Tim Bean is down. Looks like he's going to be okay after blocking that extra point attempt. But Seton LaSalle adds another score. They lead 20-6. Back with more from Heinz Field right after this.
Honey, breakfast is ready.
Okay, Puddin'. Just getting the paper. Good morning. Good morning. Hey. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi.
Good morning.
What's up?
Hey.
Good morning.
You can get the trim delivered to your home every day for 13 weeks, just $9.99.
This patient is getting a new treatment at one of the best clinical cancer centers in America, where tumors are tracked and destroyed without invading the body, and powerful new drugs can wipe out cancer cells wherever they find them. But today, her treatment will be different, because it's for her spirit. The Allegheny Cancer Center, part of the West Penn Allegheny Cancer Institute.
Welcome back to a soggy and brutally cold Heinz Field. Seton LaSalle leads in the AA championship 20-6 over Mars. Seton LaSalle, what can you say about their offense? 2 possessions, 2 13-play drives, give up 1 on downs, and get a 13-play touchdown drive. It took up 6:29, so the Rebels' offense has been outstanding throughout the entire game. This fall, get your NFL fix a day earlier with the most outrageous, unpredictable NFL pregame show you've ever seen. This week, Michael Irvin, Tony Siragusa, and comedian Tommy Davidson take a look at how the Eagles will survive without Donovan McNabb. Plus, Tommy visits the 49ers. So start your NFL weekend the night before kickoff with the NFL show presented by the U.S. Postal Service. Tomorrow night only on Fox Sports Net.
5-yard penalty, re-kick.
They're going to have him kick that one again. They want to see Gallagher and Mueller get their hands on it as the kickoff went out of bounds by Ryan Irvine, so he will kick it again.
And I'm sure they wouldn't even mind to see Carpenter get his hands on it the way he's returned some kickoffs and punts. You know, they just want to get the ball in their hands and see if they can get a chance to return one. That's the big thing. You know, why have to sustain a long drive when you've shown that you really can't move the ball as well as quickly as you'd like?
Well, there's only two. I mean, at this point of the game, Kevin, there's only two things that can happen. Either you go on a long, sustained drive, get an onside kick, and hope for the best, or you get a big play, get it quickly, and leave yourself a little more clock. The clock is certainly the enemy of Mars right now, down 20-6 with just 3:12 to go. Irvine with a kick again. Recruits a short one. Gallagher will pick it up. That's a move on the left side. Breaks a couple of tackles, breaks another, and gets it all the way down inside the 45-yard line. Andrew Baker finally tripped him up, but Gallagher with an excellent return. And man, he is fast. It's hard to believe somebody's faster on his own team. 28-yard return here.
He's really got some giddy up, as they like to say. You know, the kid just, once he gets in that open field, you see him open up his stride a little bit too, right before Baker grabs him by the ankles.
Well, a good return, and now you wonder if Roswag is going to have to put it up here for Mars. He does have 710 passing yards coming into this game. It's a touchdown. Sacked from behind there, though. Excellent play by Ron Hoke. Gets him by the ankles and drags him down. Roswag was going to throw, and you're at the point of the game where I guess you have to abandon the running game. And now Mars wants timeout. Tim Bean calls it, signaled for. And that is the third quarterback sack by Seton LaSalle.
Mars, first timeout.
I'll tell you one interesting little side note.
Yeah.
Mars assistant coach Jason Boring, he's the quarterback coach and he also coaches the junior high team. He played quarterback for Hopewell in 1990 when they lost to Seton LaSalle in the WPIAL Class AAA championship game. So here he is getting a chance to play. You know, maybe you know, he might be looking, but the only guy on the Mars team looking at his chops saying, hey, you know, let's call some pass plays and let me get my share of revenge. But and also Scott Heinauer has a little bit of history with not Seton LaSalle but South Hills Catholic before they merged with Elizabeth Seton. They were South Hills Catholic and all-boys school. He played against them and they beat them 10-7 on a field goal. And he said Seton had a game-tying field goal attempt. As the time expired, it fell a little bit short. So Scott Heinauer does have a win over against Seton LaSalle, although that was back in his playing days when he was at Stowe Rocks High School.
Well, you talk about stability. Scott Heinauer has had it up at Mars. He thinks that's one of the big reasons. You know, a lot of his assistant coaches are all teachers. They're all working the Mars high school system. He thinks that has helped him out. Obviously, you talk about Lucero. I mean, the guy went to school there. This is the guy that has brought stability to that program as well. As Mueller tried to get outside, was dragged down by Joe Del Sardo.
And Del Sardo has a little bit of revenge on Mueller, not because he has anything against Brad Mueller, but because his teammates have been getting on him all season saying, Brad Mueller's getting all the scholarship offers that belong to you. And every article that's been written about Brad Mueller has been somehow mysteriously taped inside Joe Del Sardo's locker when he walks in every day. So every time there's a scholarship offer, a new story about Brad Mueller, Joe Del Sardo has to be the first guy to read about it, and he's not real happy about that. So he's looking forward to playing against Brad Mueller, and every time he's had a chance to tackle him, he's made sure he's got it, because I'm sure if he didn't, he'd hear about it.
Well, I asked Lucero about Mars's astounding team speed, and we mentioned it before, we mentioned it again briefly, that there's not a player that plays for Mars who runs over a 5.0 in the 40. They all run in the 4s, which is absolutely amazing. I talked to Lucero about that, and he said, hey, we've got a lot of team speed too now. We don't have Mueller team speed, maybe not even Gallagher, but we got some guys that can run. Joe Del Sardo is one of those guys. Some MAC teams looking at him. He will likely be playing some Division I football somewhere next year. An excellent athlete, as you mentioned, on the basketball team as well. So Seton La-Salle has got some speed too. You know, Mars a little bit better, but Seton La-Salle has plenty of team speed. Roswag now, back to pass, pump fakes, and is swarmed under and coughs up the football. Recovered by Tim King. Harrison there in the hit. The fourth quarterback sack for Seton LaSalle.
That's been the big thing, the most underrated thing. Like Lucero said, the defense hasn't really got much credit, but here's a group of guys. I think Morse makes the play inside, and you see Harrison come on the outside. But they've got a group of guys, 5 shutouts, 4 games where they've allowed 7 points or less, and now they're here, they're holding Mars, which is one of the best running teams in the WPIAL. You know, they're really stuffing the run, not allowing them to pass, and they've only given up 6 points to the Mars Planets.
That was the 5th fumble of the game. They've only lost 1 of them, but still obviously it's been slippery. Now the shuttle pass inside to Sunday here on 4th and forever. Sunday banging forward and is going to come up just a little bit short, and Seton LaSalle will take over on downs with just 1:41 left in the game.
I'll tell you how bad Sunday wanted to get that first down. He knocked over his own lineman, Chaufre, who was in front of me. He ran him over, dipped his shoulder, ran over his own guy just to see if he could get past that yard marker.
And now it begins to sink in for both teams. For Seton LaSalle waving their arms over on the sidelines that they are going to be the 2002 AA WPIAL champions. For Mars, clearly now it's beginning to sink in that they're going to come up just a little bit short. A game effort and a terrific season, overcoming a 3-3 start. Goria takes his team to the line of scrimmage in the I formation, power left. Connolly, the deep back, will get the ball, going to wrap both hands around it. Will bang forward, hit by DeMarco. And Tim Sunday picks up a couple. And Mars will use their 3rd and final timeout.
Well, you know, when they talked about the last time they won a WPIAL championship, 1990, they beat Hopewell 30-23. It came down to the last minute or so, and Paul Duffy scored a touchdown with, I believe, about 1:23 left as for the game-winning points. The Seton LaSalle players picked up Greg Gattuso, who weighs 300 plus, and carried him around the field on their shoulders. Now, Lucero's a big guy. He's not quite as big as Gattuso, so it'll be interesting to see what kind of celebration they have in store.
Well, coming up a little bit later on, another high school football champion is going to be crowned in the WPIAL, this time in AAA. It's Pine Richland versus Hopewell. Our coverage continues. That game slated to begin at 6 o'clock. Considering it's now 6 o'clock, I don't think that's going to happen. So that's obviously running a little bit behind, but that's coming up next. Pat Paris on the call. You're going to stick around, aren't you, Kevin?
Yeah, I'm going to do a doubleheader.
That should be a fun game as well. You know, we've seen Anthony Doria throw it pretty well in these sloppy conditions. The field, you know, continuing to get sloppier, the weather remaining bad. Going to be interesting to see what Kevin McCabe from Pine Richland can do under these conditions as well. Connolly cuts back inside, banged down hard by DeMarco once again. DeMarco had some help from Rick Gable on that tackle as well. And it's going to bring up 3rd and short. 3rd and just a couple. 1:10 remaining now and counting down. That's all that stands between Seton LaSalle and their 4th WPIAL championship.
Well, you see the receivers, Caputo and Del Sardo, did a little early celebration, but you know, you see Connolly, he's not quite celebrating yet because he knows he's got a couple more carries under his arms before he's going to have to take a few more shots before he can let loose in this one.
3rd and 2, and they did not get the playoff in time. Going to be a delay of game. With 42 seconds left, that will bring up a 3rd and about 7 or so.
Dead ball.
You got to give a lot of credit here to the Seton LaSalle offensive coordinator, Greg Perry, and Lucero. They've called a terrific game plan. I mean, here you have 2 guys who've relied all season on the pass. They have a 2,000-yard passer. They came out, first play of the game, went 5 wide. But when it comes down to it, if you have to run the ball to win a WPIAL championship, they're more than willing to do it.
And you mentioned Greg Perry, and Lucero has been very quick to give him credit. He says, hey, I'm an I formation guy. You know, I want to see us run the ball, but he's done a nice job of implementing a passing offense. The handoff to Connolly there. And we'll have to wait to see what time they blow the whistle to see if that will be the final play of the game. And it looks like that will be it. They set the clock now with 22 seconds left. Seton LaSalle does not have to run another play. They won't run another play. Anthony Doria runs off the field with his helmet in the air. Lots of hugs. Oh, you can see in a very emotional Lucero. Wow. Look at that, being embraced by his team. Tremendous season by that man right there, Scott Heinauer and his Mars Fighting Planets. A tremendous effort. They took the community of Mars on a great joyride that finally ended here on the field at Heinz Field in the WPIAL championship game. Seton LaSalle, the WPIAL AA champions. You can see the great tradition of the two teams shaking hands. And Mars, a great effort. Plenty of reason to hold their heads high after a tremendous season. They talk about overcoming adversity. Teams always talk about that. There's always adversity to overcome, but they overcame a 3-3 start. High expectations at the beginning of the season, lived up to them. Got themselves here to Heinz Field. When kids strap it on for the first time in August, when training camp begins, they all have one goal in mind, and that's to get to Heinz Field. Mars did that. They came up a little short, but a tremendous season for them, and of course for Seton LaSalle as well. They remain unbeaten. Boy, what a storybook season for Coach Lucero. The former player here, he's played in 2 championships, an assistant coach in 1, and now the head coach for the 4th championship in Seton LaSalle's history, the WPIAL. Seton LaSalle wins 20-6. Back with more from Heinz Field coming up right after this.